on a wonderful Friday afternoon here in the Pacific Northwest. Pumped to bring it to you today. Should be a fun matchup. Thanks for having us as we welcome you in. Jake Butt, Jason Ross Jr., Taylor Davis with us as well. These athletes, part of two of the most prestigious programs in the country. Jake getting set to take the stage, one of the coolest settings they'll experience throughout their high school careers. On top of that, we got a fun matchup.
Oh yeah, and a matchup with some externals expectations as well. It's a little bit of a David versus Goliath. At least that was my takeaway from our meetings this morning. On one end, you got the #2 team rated in the country in Bishop Gorman, a private school. All their players come from all across the country, and they're facing the David in this scenario, Long Beach Poly, a public school. And head coach Stephen Barbie said, you know where we get our players from? Right locally in town on the east side of Long Beach. That being said, both teams are capable, and they said, hey, we believe we can compete with the best of the best, and this is our chance to prove it this afternoon.
Like you said, Long Beach Poly trying to pull off the upset today against the second-ranked Bishop Gorman team. If they're going to do that, their QB is going to be key, Darius Curry.
And the one thing that jumps out is the career completion percentage, nearly 80% completion rate. That tells me a few things. Of course, accuracy matters, but his ability to read a defense, to take what the defense gives you, find the open receiver, hit it within timing and rhythm. That's all adds up to a great, excellent career completion percentage, nearly 80%.
On the opposite side, speaking of options, I know you like the tight ends, my friend. This is a pretty good one in Elijah Lofton.
Yeah, the best in the country, right? And I've been doing this now a couple years, and I love when we get the tight ends involved in the opening and get to know this name. #9, Elijah Lofton. Tight ends are a bit of a Swiss Army knife. They're an extension of the offensive line. They're involved in the receiver game. Now, Elijah Lofton, doesn't stop there. Sometimes he lines up in the backfield and has a few games with rushing touchdowns under his belt. So we will be highlighting him throughout the broadcast, letting you know where he's lined up. That'll be an indicator of what type of offensive scheme Bishop Gorman is trying to get to.
There's his head coach, Brent Browner. There are a lot of expectations around this program every year. He says that comes with the territory. They're prepared for big expectations once again this year. On the opposite sideline, the head coach is Stephen Barbie for Long Beach Poly. Let's go down to Taylor, who's with him.
Thank you, Jason. Well, Coach, a very special experience for your guys out here this week. What's been your message to them to make the most of this opportunity?
Consistency and doing what we do, playing to the Long Beach Poly standard.
What are you looking for out here tonight?
For us to score more points than Bishop Gorman.
That's a good start. Enjoy.
Thank you. Yep.
Guys.
Set for kick. Again, these two teams come in 1-0 on the season. Bishop Gorman, the heavy favorite in this one after beating one of the top teams in Utah a week ago, Corner Canyon 62-43. Long Beach Poly 1-0 coming off a 60-28 win in Hawaii in their opener. Stephen Barbie said they still have to play us. Off we go here in Beaverton. Miles Norman back to return that opening kick, but he'll watch it just settle out of bounds.
Late flag came in. I thought he could have let that one go, but it looked like he tried to pick it up. You know, it's a flag if the kick goes out of bounds untouched. Let's see if the officials get to it here.
There is no penalty. The receiver touched the ball prior to the ball going out of bounds. First down.
Say hello to our officiating crew for the first time.
You see, that ball's going out of bounds, right? You let that go, and it's a difference of about 8 yards, which may or may not matter, but certainly you take all the free yards you can get.
Micah Alejado, the quarterback for Bishop Gorman, to get things started behind this potent running game. There's Devon Rice off the get-go. He picks up a quick first down gain on the opening play of the game. Jake, they run behind an offensive line that deserves a ton of credit. If you're a running back, you're pretty happy right now in that backfield.
And this play is a perfect indication for what we'll be watching for throughout the day. You mentioned the offensive line, Jason. Their coaching staff said, yeah, of course these guys are going to go play D1. He said, we have guys that are ready and will play in the NFL one day. And that's a great job with a talented running back room. You saw Devin Rice there running behind that offensive line, creating lanes for them.
Right away, it's a gain of 14 yards. Long Beach Poly defense. That'll be the challenge for them today, and they're excited to embrace it as a defensive line. Alejado's first throw of the game might have something here. He does. down inside of Long Beach Poly territory, able to find one of his top targets, Brandon Gaea.
Listen, there's so many weapons on this team. Look on the left side of your screen, working in one-on-one, and that's just a post. You see all the space there in the middle of the field, and you have Brandon Gaea one-on-one. That's a receiver Alejandro is going to go to, especially when there's no safety help in the middle of the field.
Gain of 38 yards on the play, and that's the explosiveness of this offense that the entire country is excited to watch this season. Devon Rice will spin his way ahead for a few more yards.
It's a bit of a unique defensive structure by Long Beach Poly right now. It already burned them once, we saw on that post with minimal safety help over top, and they went to it again there, leaning the safeties heavy to the passing strength, leaving the solo receiver one-on-one. And I'll highlight him here. We talked about him in the open. That's Elijah Lofton, the tight end.
And number 9 is kind of lined up out at the top of your screen right now as a wideout. They use him in so many different ways. Alejandro looks the opposite direction, has Gaea again. Down the sideline he goes, just shy of the pylon in this brisk moving opening drive for Bishop Gorman, number 2 team in the country. Again, beat Corner Canyon 62-43 in Utah last week. They had a very intense, very deliberate practice yesterday. That's what they do each and every day. Alejandro, as we learned talking with his head coach, Brent Browner, earlier today, he has a lot of responsibility in this offense when it comes to calling plays and getting them set at the line of scrimmage. Long Beach Poly on their heels early, able to come up with the stands here on 1st and goal. And it's a Long Beach Poly team that knows there's going to be some points on the board today, and they can score some points themselves. But these defensive stops in this heat too, Jake, it feels like high 80s, but on the field, as you know, maybe a little hotter.
Some guys that aren't known for conditioning, look at the big bodies for both teams on the field here.
There's your guy, Elijah Lofton. One of his rushing touchdowns this season comes early. He did it a season ago. That's one of the many spots they'll use him in, and Bishop Gorman strikes first.
They're going to get to this down in short yardage and goal line situations. That's Elijah Lofton. Remember, he's a tight end, but he does line up in the running back and has a number of career rushing touchdowns. That's a big body to try to tackle in short yardage situation. Also led by a couple other big bodies, heavy personnel. Long Beach had no answer.
McKay Bone on to attempt this extra point. He had the chance to meet his mom, dad, and grandpa earlier this morning. His mom, Markel, dad, Brent, and grandpa, Phil, all in attendance. Watch that extra point go through the uprights.
Big time smiles too.
Big time smiles. Big time smiles on the Bishop Gorman sideline to get this one off. A smooth opening drive. They're up 7-0 early stages opening quarter.
Reminder, folks, our halftime performance, LA Native Blast will be here on the field, ready to perform all year.
Number 2 made the tackle for Long Beach Poly, but I don't have him on my chart, so which one? We'll try.
Jake, anything you want to talk outside of this break here?
Maybe we can do the contrast of the veteran offensive line play from Bishop Gorman.
The Hawaii commit, Micah Alejado, handed it off to the Miami commit, Elijah Lofton, for the opening score here in Beaverton at the Nike World Headquarters. Second annual Kickoff Classic at this beautiful, beautiful setting. Happy to have you with us this afternoon. Noah Randazzo getting set to kick off here for Bishop Gorman. We got Jordan Mala'alu back to return for Long Beach Poly. Wide receiver also Mala'alu, who will play a key role on the Long Beach Poly offense. We'll talk about that as they try to answer the opening Gorman score. Randazzo boots it away. Titus Bordeaux on the return here. He was also back. Good kick coverage, though, from Gorman. They worked a lot on special teams yesterday. Just kind of another hint at the detail of their practices. They do not miss a single aspect of the game of football when it comes to their walkthroughs on Thursday before games. So don't feel like your standard walkthrough.
I didn't see a walkthrough at all.
No,
it was intense.
It was intense. It was detailed. They were preparing to face this guy, a pretty good quarterback, and Darius Julian. Now he's set to bring out this Long Beach Poly offense. Curry, the dual threat QB, Colorado State commit. 3,000 yards last season, 38 touchdowns. He'll be a very important factor today for this Long Beach Poly offense to try to keep pace with Bishop Gorman. Curry pressured early, and he will be brought down on the opening offensive play for Long Beach Poly. Looks like leading the way there was Sione Matuapuako. Prince Williams in the mix as well.
Well, you can compare and contrast the two starts. On one end, you have Bishop Gorman, who we talked about, their elite veteran offensive line. There's Long Beach Poly, first play of the game. We must note they only have one returning starter across their offensive line. The strengths of Bishop Gorman is in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And that time that came to fruition when their D-line got the best of Long Beach Poly.
Matuapuako stand out as offers from a lot of schools out west. As Long Beach Poly gets a chunk there, but it'll be third down coming up on their opening series.
With that in mind, to continue the idea of a younger, inexperienced offensive line, here you are in a third down situation. What we know is that's when pass protection is of most importance. So we'll see how Darius Curry operates to get the ball out of his hands early.
There it is on third down, trying to direct traffic, but instantly swarmed on the sideline. That pursuit of the Bishop Gorman defensive line on display right now in the opening stages. Charles Correa, linebacker UNLV commit, was over there to make the play.
As soon as Curry got the football, it was about a quick 1 second beat before he was flushed outside of the pocket. And there he was rolling to his left. The problem was there was only one receiver there. The passing strength was to the right, so as he was rolling to his left, he really had no answers down the field. Once again, the pressure is what got the best of Darius Curry in the Long Beach Poly offense.
Audric Harris back to return this punt. Watch it bounce. Does take a Long Beach Poly hop just inside of Bishop Gorman territory, but they'll still set up shop in really good position when we come back. An early Bishop Gorman score has them up 7-0. 7-0 Bishop Gorman lead. Welcome back. 7:19 to go in the opening quarter. Let's say hello to Taylor Davis.
Well, guys, if you need any more of an indicator of how serious these two high school football programs are, look no further than their sideline setup. Both teams actually came with their own TV monitors. You can see behind me the guys rallied around it. They are actually getting a feed from end zone cameras as well as their own shooters that are spread across the field to get them different angles of plays. They are getting the footage into these tents and reviewing the monitors after the play happens. Real in-game situational breakdown that they're able to do. I mean, guys, I've seen iPads on the sidelines in college football, but full monitors that these high school programs are bringing and equipping themselves. Really impressive.
We talked about, Jake, the technology and how the game has evolved as Alejado quickly throws out of the pocket here. That was deflected, but still caught by his target there. Micah Kaapana, the Michigan commit, first time we've seen him today. And Dion on the tackle.
It's a great catch by Taylor, and it just speaks on the growth of this game. When I was in high school, which was just about a decade ago, we had none of this. And then I got to Michigan about halfway through my time. We got to get some of the pictures. Of course, you see the different iPads and technology and pictures and photos you get on NFL sidelines. What all trickles on down, these are two of the best high school programs in all of the country with their own monitors to break it down in real time.
Technology they get to experience here at the Nike campus this week. Anna goes back to the ground. Tackled ankle high there. Dylan Williams, the Oregon commit, on the play. 4-star linebacker, 6'3", class of 2024. So playing in his future state here. Pretty cool.
3rd-and-3 situation here, and I know it's early in the game, but everything's felt easy from the Bishop Gorman standpoint, both on offense and defense. Like, this is a big opportunity for Long Beach Poly in a 3rd down situation, trying to get off the field.
Alejado keeps it. Can they get him prior to the line to gain? We'll see where the officials mark this as he was forced out of bounds. Looks like they're, see what they do here. They might move the chains. And they will. So the Bishop Gorman offense will stay out there.
Oh man, it's a game of inches, Jason, and that's a read option. So they're leaving the defensive end, Troy Tamasoa, number 0. They left him unblocked. Micah Alejado said, I'm going to take this, and Tamasoa had a chance to bring him down. He nipped at the ankles and missed, and that's what allowed Micah just enough chance to move the chains.
Alejado wants a one-on-one matchup. Did he hold that in? What a grab. Derek Meadows, the 6'6" rangy receiver, able to make the play.
Such a wealth of talent Micah Alejado has, and this, as you mentioned, Jason, 6'6" receiver, and uses every single inch of that length to come down with it. We saw him in practice yesterday. Felt like he was Alejado's favorite target throughout the day, especially down in the red zone. Just throw it up to the big 6'6" rangy receiver, and he'll come down with it.
We saw that in practice a ton, to your point, and now seeing it on the field. Meadows' size and height just jumped out to us right away. He used every inch of the 6'6" length to make that play.
I think something that's really important is you see a 6'6" guy and they make plays like that, but he can change direction as well.
Derek Meadows creating his own highlight reel early on here. His team up 7-0 and they're knocking on the door. There's Derek Meadows, who's helping his team get closer to potentially extending a 7-0 lead. Jake, let's take another peek at that graph.
As you touched on before we went to the break, Derek Meadows 6'6", and take a look at the range right there. Needed every single inch of that height and that length. You see the long arms when he gets up to celebrate the catch, but laying out for it, and then the technique, keep the ball off the ground. He has tight elbows, so he's able to just confirm to the ref, listen, I completed the catch, it didn't touch the ground. And for Alejado, he's such an accurate quarterback. He's going to Hawaii. He's going to be part of that run and shoot Timmy Chang offense. And with that in mind, one of his favorite passes was these go balls, these streak routes down the sideline, and he's got a plethora of talent led by the 6'6" receiver, Derek Meadows, to throw the ball to.
He makes plays where it doesn't look like plays should be made, and that was an example right there. Now they're knocking on the door of extending this lead to 2 possessions. Meadows has another one-on-one matchup at the bottom of your screen.
That's the tight end, Elijah Lofton.
Goes the opposite way, looking for him in the back corner of the end zone. See if the feet are inbounds. They are. It's a Bishop Gorman touchdown. Went right back to Elijah Lofton in the spot they love to find him. He's got 2 TDs today, and his team is up 2 touchdowns.
Wouldn't you love to play quarterback in this offense? You got Derek Meadows, 6'6". You got the #1 tight end in the country right here, Elijah Lofton. And anytime it's one-on-one, even when you're covered, if you're a good tight end, you know how to use your body like you see Lofton do there, almost boxing him out like a basketball receiver. You're never actually covered. It's a great job, great technique, and I know the Miami coaches are smiling saying, yeah, we can't wait to get you on campus, Elijah.
Like we said, this was what they did at practice yesterday, over and over again. The back shoulder fades and looking for their tight end, who we talked about in the open. Elijah Lofton committed to Miami, the 4-star recruit. Such a multifaceted skill set. We've seen the multifaceted offense so far. Brent Browner's Bishop Gorman team. Take a look at that touchdown again here.
Remember, he's a tight end body. Look here in the bottom left of your screen. Watch as he leans into the defender. Look at him use his weight, his strength, and he leans into the defender, gets him on his back, similar to getting a rebound in the game of basketball. You see it right here, and then extends. He's not letting the ball get into his body. He's going to attack the ball out of the air and use his strength. And you see some of the linemen there celebrating. They're putting their hands on their head saying, yeah, baby. We love to see it.
Bishop Gorman fans are loving to see it right now. They trailed in the first half last week in Utah against Corner Canyon and have really come out of the gates hot here with intention. Jordan Mala'olu is back to return for Long Beach Poly. K. Bone will kick things off here. There's some moments of inches on that drive, too, where Long Beach Poly had Bishop Gorman in 3rd down situations. So take a short hop. Set Long Beach Poly up in pretty good field position. If you're Long Beach Poly right now, when it comes to responding, you taking the early punch here from a very talented Bishop Gorman team. What does the mentality need to be on this drive?
Well, I think we saw last drive the difference in size, experience, and speed from the Poly offensive line versus the defensive front of Bishop Gorman. Now, with that in mind, what's the strength of this Poly offense? It's your quarterback and your receivers. So you may not need to go toe-to-toe. You don't just need to run into the teeth of this defense. I'm looking at some screens. Get the ball out of your quarterback's hands early. Get the ball in the hands of your playmakers out in space and let them get you started on this drive.
This Long Beach Poly team opened up their season playing in Hawaii on a really cool trip for this group. Had about 15 players on this Long Beach Poly team that had never flown before until a couple of weeks ago.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
5-yard penalty was set Poly back. They won that game 60-28 in Hawaii on August 11th against Kanawaiena, which is a really good program in Hawaii. Now Darius Curry trying to guide this Long Beach Poly team, the Colorado State commit. His coach has a lot of belief in him. Another flag goes flying. Battle in the trenches has favored Bishop Gorman early on here. See what this flag is for.
Face mask defense, number 44. That's a 15-yard penalty, resulting in a first down.
They got Sione Matuapuoko.
Poly got bailed out because there was not much space here, and Matuapuaka, that's a strong man. He got a hold of that face mask. Clearly can't do it. A couple officials saw it. We saw flags flying. It gets him a fresh set of downs.
Throw underneath, came up a bit short. Intended target there, looking for Caden Butler, one of the wideouts in this Long Beach Poly team. It's a good crew of wide receivers, Jake. It feels early on. This is something we talked about earlier today at breakfast. Can Long Beach Poly have enough time to get these receivers the ball in space?
Well, what are you going to do? You got the 15-yard penalty. You got a fresh set of downs. You get a little bit of momentum. It's been tough sledding. And as you see this is what you don't want to see if you're Long Beach Poly, is another run into the teeth of the Bishop Gorman defense for no gain. You got to get something going. It's felt really tough at this point. Maybe you dig into your bag. Do you pull out a trick play? What is your best play? You need to get some type of downhill momentum to get some confidence back in your offense.
Elijah Carnell made that last tackle for the Bishop Gorman defense. Brings up a big third down here for Long Beach Poly.
You can see the size. Look at the size of the Poly offensive lineman versus the defensive lineman on Gorman.
Curry had time to step up there, but couldn't complete his throw to the sideline. Looking for Caden Butler again. The transfer and one of the highly touted receivers in the country. That'll bring up fourth down for Long Beach Poly.
There's a great example of the game within the game, Jason, because for the first time today, Curry had a clean pocket. He actually had time, and he had his receiver, Caden Butler, open. That's a play that he expects to hit with a career nearly 80% completion rate. But because of all the pressure that's built out early in this game, he got a little bit of happy feet, and he threw it early and inaccurate, forcing a fourth down.
Audric Harris, back to return. Watch this take a hop in front of him, a Long Beach Poly bounce. 2:05 to play in this opening quarter. Now the Bishop Gorman offense, which has been a well-oiled machine, as it has been the last few years, will come back out. Number 2 team in the country. Definitely the team to beat. The state of Nevada, they play all over the country. They played in Utah last week, now up in Oregon this week. Loving the experiences, but at the end of the day, these trips are business trips for Bishop Gorman. They have had a business-like approach to the start of this game so far.
Gorman wants to play the best, right? That's what head coach Brent Browner told us. They played the state champ out of Utah last week. Playing one of the best teams in California this week. They are not scared of the competition.
Spicer in it. QB was looking downfield. That time for Audric Harris, the Arizona commit who had 9 catches, 185 yards a week ago. Look at how close this one was.
Almost had it, right? Almost had it, and as he hits the ground, he's just so explosive, the ball pops out. But we've seen it. There is no issue from this Bishop Gorman receiver crew and passing attack getting behind the defense of Long Beach Poly. At some point, Poly's going to have to make an adjustment.
Bishop Gorman has several talented quarterbacks. Spicer got bobbled that initially, had to pick it up off the turf, and then gets dragged out of bounds. So the early, kind of own self-inflicted mistake there for Bishop Gorman, and all of a sudden Poly does have Gorman in a third and long situation. Kind of the first time Poly has had this so far today.
Huge opportunity for Poly here, right? It's been tough sledding on both sides of the ball. Offense hasn't had a chance to get much going. This is a favorable situation, right? 3rd and 14. The odds clearly favor Poly's defense. But as we've seen throughout the day, Bishop Gorman has had no trouble attacking downfield. This is going to be a battle Poly's going to have to win if they want to stay in this game here early.
Jake, tight end at the bottom of the screen here. Elijah Lofton on top of the screen. Derek Meadows. Not much time to throw, though. Out of the backfield, it's Devon Rice, and he is gobbled up by the Poly defense. So all of a sudden, maybe some Long Beach Poly momentum here. Able to make the play was the man they called Kwamari Shamel.
And the defense better go give Kwamari Shamel a lot of props, because if he hadn't made that tackle, there was a lot of green grass. The offensive line did a great job of peeling off and picking off defenders. And had he been able to break that tackle, there was green grass. He might still be running, but Great job by Q there to bring him down and force a punt.
Malaulu back to return this punt. I think they might be set up for maybe some decent field position here. Thomas Sleeman will punt it. It's a good punt, though, with some high hang time. Wow. That is going to drift all the way down.
Oh, my goodness. He almost touched that. And that is an absolute, as soon as you see that rolling, right, you got to let it go. He almost touched that.
Would have been a huge mistake.
Yeah, it would have been a massive, massive mistake.
Nonetheless, a good boot. And that's the special teams work we talked about for Bishop Gorman in practice yesterday.
You know what I love, Jason? Punter highlights. Nothing gets me fired up like a great punt inside the game. You're saying, hey, maybe Paulie's going to get some good field position. He says, no, not so fast.
So fast.
Punts it almost too good, right? Ends up being a touchback.
Now Darius Curry comes out after the well-deserved love to the punter. Curry, a quick throw. Seems like the throws will have to be quick today. It's Ezekiel. Junior wide receiver and a slot target for Long Beach Poly. Approaching the final 2 minutes of this opening quarter.
I'd like to see some more of that out of Paulie and Darius Curry, right? His strength is his accuracy. Right now, the offensive line isn't holding up against that defensive front. Get the ball out of your hands early, get some easy completions, and get some momentum going for your offense.
You like the pace, too?
The problem with pace, Jason, is when you go 3 and out, all of a sudden your defense doesn't get a break and end up on the field so long. So pace is fine, but if you're not moving the chains, it can actually work against you. And so far, actually, it's been working against you. Big third down here, though. 3rd and 1, got to move the chains.
They gave it to Joshua Caseman last play. Quick target this time. Really an explosive play. Bruin there, able to find the target there. Luke Buggs on the reception. He's a track star at Long Beach Poly. Nearly slipped away if it wasn't for this shoestring tackle.
That's a great, almost an errant snap there, but you see how quickly the ball gets out of his hands. It's a little pick route. They saw it was man-to-man, and that's an easy read for your quarterback. Get it out to your guy, move the chains.
Isaiah Duncan made the tackle on the last play. And Long Beach Poly is definitely moving with a bit of a groove now, trying to feed off the momentum that we last saw from their defense. The ball that slipped out of the hands of the Bishop Gorman QB, Melvin Spicer, and that led to a stop for Poly. It was their first stop on downs in the game. They are moving it quickly on the slant routes. We'll see if they rule that complete. It's incomplete.
Not a great catch. Not a catch at all.
And it brings it back to 3rd and 5. Some manageable here situation. What are you looking at?
Well, what's been working, and I'm gonna circle. Look at the distance right here. Off coverage on the top of your screen. It's coming down a little bit, but get the ball out of your hands quick. That's what's been working. Underneath routes.
Bishop Gorman brings pressure off the edge. Curry able to slip past the initial pressure. Can he create something out of nothing? Oh, looking for, that's on Kamari Smith down the sideline. There is a flag, Jake, way down on the sideline where Curry was brought down. So maybe some tension here for what this call could be. Let's take a look.
Once again, pressure in Curry's face right away. He's been scrambling. He's been running all day. It almost makes a Russell Wilson-esque type play, right? A magician.
Like that broken play that nearly works.
No, I need my flag.
But nonetheless, I think they got a personal foul here.
They did. Personal foul on Bishop Gorman. So this will be a free first down for Long Beach Poly.
The second free first down off a personal foul, but that only goes as far as what you're willing to do with it. Paulie, you have a chance now. Once again, fresh set of downs. Now you're in plus territory. Can you get some points on the board? Look at the off coverage. Hit the underneath routes.
This time we've really seen their offensive line kind of running back to the front of the line of scrimmage. Momentum kind of bleeding into all aspects of the offense now.
I think if they're going to want to win in the running game, that's where the tempo comes into play, like you mentioned earlier in the drive, Jason. The size difference is extremely apparent. It favors Bishop Gorman, but if you can get this D-line tired, maybe you can push him around a little bit.
And Josh Noodle's case in there. They go back to him this time. Has another hole in the middle. His jersey was dragged, but he didn't care. Moved it all the way for a first down gain, and they're breaching Bishop Gorman territory. Moving with a sense of urgency and intention right now. Jake, you can also see the Bishop Gorman defense with their hands on their hips. In this heat, it's late 90 degrees right now.
Yeah, it's late in the drive right here. We're winding down the first quarter, so Long Beach Poly is going to want to take advantage of this. They don't want to give this defensive line too much of a break.
They just brought Jordan Mala'alu in motion. They handed off and immediately exploding up the middle to make that play was Keatron Harris on the D-line, the 6'4" sophomore. Excellent edge rusher. This was an absolute blast off the edge, and that'll end the quarter. 14-0 Bishop Gorman lead, but Long Beach Poly racking up some momentum now. At the end of the quarter, we head to the second quarter when we come back. Fun start to this one.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Nike Kickoff Classic here on the campus of the Nike World Headquarters. We welcome you back in. Quarter two just about to begin. I've been in really great company down here on the sidelines the past couple of days, guys. I'm not going to lie. NFL great. TJ Uzumenzama, and honestly, TJ, you have been such an advocate for the next generation of athletes through coaching, through events like this. How gratifying is it for you to see this opportunity be granted to them?
For the kids, it's a great thing because you may not get an opportunity. The odds are you probably never get an opportunity to do something like this. And as far as I just like to help people out because of how I came through and how hard it was for me. Any help you can give these kids is going to be beneficial. Some that listen, others may not, but the ones that do listen, hopefully I can just tell them a thing or two that helps them.
I saw you out here yesterday during the girls' flag football game giving some pieces of advice in game. When you think back to a young TJ playing this game, what piece of advice really stuck with you?
Man, really what should have stuck with me is just have fun. I mean, that's play hard and have fun. That's what you play sports for, is to have fun. And when you lose sight of that, then it's a problem. And watching the girls play yesterday was unbelievable. The skill level and the way they're able to compete and just make plays. Like, I was so astonished at the way they were throwing the ball, the way they were catching, the whole facet of the game, the way the girls played yesterday. I was very impressed.
What are your hopes for more events like this? Nike, the NFL continuing to pour in. What are your hopes for the future?
Oh, that it just gets bigger and bigger. Each and every year it gets bigger and bigger. I mean, you had teams from New Jersey, teams from Chicago, Las Vegas, and also the LA area. Just each year it just gets bigger and bigger every year.
And we've got some impressive athletes showing out. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
TJ mentioned fun. He played on some fun Bengals teams. On the field right now, the Bishop Gorman defense having fun. Another look at that last play. That was on 4th down, a big stop here.
4th down equals desperation, because as you can see there, really no space, nowhere to go with the football. You're just throwing it up to give your guy a chance. But of course, when you're covered, you got a safety on top, you got a cornerback in your lap. There's just nowhere to go with the football. It's a great job breaking the pass up, and just a frustrating end to the drive for Long Beach Poly, who had some momentum and a chance to cut this lead down. But it's stifled, and they go 4 and out.
It's
right inside the red zone.
It's Isaiah Duncan, maybe an underrated name on that Bishop Gorman defense, had the big pass breakup in the end zone. Quick flag goes flying there. By the way, so cool to see the former pros out here.
Snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Delay of game called there, and Dominican Sue out here as well, former pro Super Bowl champ.
TJ Houshmandzadeh, one of the NFL's all-time great receivers, and we've already seen and highlighted earlier in this game some excellent receiver play. It's got to be cool to make a play as these young receivers have in front of one of the NFL's best.
Speaking of wideouts, Brandon Gaia showcasing the strides there. TJ, for me, one of the underrated all-time wideouts in the National Football League. So cool to have him here. Let's go down to Taylor for more.
As soon as I wrapped up that interview with TJ, he went over to the Poly tent here on the sidelines, was chatting with a few of the guys. I saw him locking up on their jerseys, showing a couple of them a couple different graphs, and really pouring into this next generation of athletes. I think it's been really impressive that this isn't just speak. They're putting action behind everything they're doing here.
Yeah, they also spoke to the players at the opening ceremony a couple days ago, and the girls' flag players as well. Alajado's backing in quarterback for Bishop Gorman. Here's an explosive run. Ka'apana, the Michigan commit, able to get Bishop Gorman a fresh set of downs. And interesting to see Alajado back in.
Just look at the gap and the crease created there. That's the center of the offensive line. Kalinuala and Olofutuli, the center and the right guard, just road grading. Whatever's in front of them, they're creating the lane. And then for your running back, Micah Ka'apana, you love to see that, baby. A parting of the Red Sea, and then your talents can take over.
There's a lot of Division I scholarship offers lended to the guys up front right now for this Bishop Gorman team, and they're the reason why plays like this are continuously made. We saw it last week for Bishop Gorman. We're seeing it this week. Audric Harris on the receiving end there. The senior wideout makes another grab.
It just feels like a well-oiled operation, almost machine-like now for Bishop Gorman. Everything's working for them. There's easy reads when they hand the ball off. There's a bunch of space. They got weapons all over the field. It starts with the offensive line. All of them have D1 offers. They have excellent receiver play. They're 2-3 deep in the running back room.
Back to Ka'apana, finds right space off the edge. And did he find another first down? They mark him just short on a gain of about 9. A little over 9 to play in this second quarter. Another look here.
Just take a look. All right, there's the line of scrimmage, right? Watch what happens once this ball is snapped, where the line of scrimmage ends up. Look at all that downfield movement. You see the guys running their feet. And you have a running back in Micah Kaapana who, he's a great back. He doesn't need any help, but he's running behind such elite offensive line play. He's not even touched before 6-7 yards down the field.
Lefty delivers to Kaapana. Those two have such good chemistry, Alejado and Kaapana. Two players know they'll be playing college football pretty soon. And that's another first down gain, and they get it in a different way this time. Same players, different way.
He's going to Michigan one day, Micah Kaapana, and I know Jim Harbaugh and that Michigan staff is looking down, smiling, because the minimum that's required of a running back is you have to be able to carry the football. You have to be able to identify the holes. You have to make the cuts. But you add that much more value when you can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's a great catch on a little wheel route by Micah Kaapana.
Smith, Jacob had his eyes up the field that time.
Micah
looking for Kaapana.
I'm trying to give him credit here. I'm saying great hands by the running, and that's the easy one. You got to have that one, Micah.
I know he enjoyed meeting you yesterday, by the way, my friend. A couple of Michigan guys chopping it up. I know you attended a camp around these parts, your high school days. Cool for you to now see the developments of future Wolverines out there. A lot of different potential colleges represented on this field. Might have a false start here.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 59, 5-yard penalty, replay 2.
False start on the Gales, 5-yard penalty.
Well, all right, if you're Long Beach Poly, keeping them behind the chains is going to be very key. That's kind of been the only stop so far.
Let's just take a look at the defensive structure by Poly here, Jason, and you can see the bind that the talent of Bishop Gorman puts them in. Do you add extra players to the box to commit to stop the run? But if not, look, you got a one-on-one matchup up top with no safety help. You just don't have enough bodies and answers to stop all of the weapons that Bishop Gorman has.
Alejado able to hook up there with Audric Harris. Tackle made on the sideline by Dylan Williams. And the Oregon commit coming over to make the play. Keeps it 3rd and long. That was a big tackle over on the sideline.
Once again, a favorable situation, a big situation for Long Beach Poly here. I'd imagine Bishop Gorman is considering that they have 2 downs down here in the low red zone. They might go for it on 4th, but if you're Poly, you'd like to shut that down with a no-gainer right here.
Alejado pressured. Pocket breaks down, has to improvise, bought himself time, and found Kaapana inside of the Poly 5-yard line. Just so poised under pressure.
Now take a look right here. So Alejado is sitting in the pocket, right? Great coverage down the field, and then he gets some pressure from both sides. There he is, and he flushes it. That's quarterback one-on-one, but look at what it does to the linebacker. It puts you in a position right there, and I believe that's number 34, DJ Hicks. What do you do? Do you stick with your running back, Micah Kaapana, or do you come up and stop the mobile Micah Alejado? You don't have a right answer.
They hand it off to Kaapana. There's a flag. Kaapana gets in the end zone. We'll see what this call is. If the touchdown stands, it's a 3-score game. But we shall await the verdict here.
Disregard the flag on the play. Disregard it.
No flag on the play.
If you're a Bishop Gorman fan, you can disregard it and count the touchdown. 3-score lead now for the Gales. They're up 20-0. Coming on to attempt this extra point, McKay Bone. With his family in the stands today. Get some more whistles before this extra point.
Prior to the snap, illegal substitution on the defense.
So we will not disregard the flag that time.
Not that time, Jay. Not that time. Not so fast.
And if you're Bishop Gorman, what does that do? You say, all right, you're going to give us the ball now half the distance to the goal. We're going to bring in the big bodies. Let's see if you can stop us, Long Beach Poly. Again, notice the running back. Here he is. Look at that body type. That doesn't look like a running back. Well, of course, it's a tight end, Elijah Laughlin.
And he's running behind some big bodies that opened up a clear runway into the end zone. You look at that O-line, 6'5", 6'3", 6'2". The big boys up front able to give Ka'apana enough room to squeak into the end zone to extend this lead to 3 scores for Bishop Gorman. Three-score Bishop Gorman lead now. Second quarter here in Beaverton, Oregon. Jake Butt, Jason Ross Jr., Taylor Davis. Welcoming you back to the Nike World Headquarters for the second annual Nike Kickoff Classic. Some pretty passionate conversation right now on the Long Beach Poly sideline. Their mentality, Jake, as we talked about with Stephen Barbie this morning, is it's not about me, it's about what I can do for you. And their primary word in the culture is love. They feel that's the most powerful word in the English language. And they want to tell each other, I love you. And that's what their program is predicated on. And right now, just trying to find that collectively in terms of resilience on the sideline.
Stephen Barbie said that's most important during the times of adversity, right? You can't just fall back on love if you haven't built it throughout the offseason, if you haven't built it as a coach outside of the football field, right? He said we're beyond the football field. He cares about the academics, and he believes that fits the culture. And here, a big moment, guys were yelling, screaming, trying to get their team excited on the sideline here. The only way you can do that for your team is if you know you love each other and you have aligned goals and each other's best interest in mind.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because it's those moments where you really do have to come together and love each other. When you see 22-0 on the scoreboard and trying to find the resilience right now. Coming back out here is Darius Curry, the QB, Colorado State commit. For Poly, they had such momentum on that last offensive drive, and at the time the score was 14-0. So had an opportunity in the red zone to cut the lead in half, couldn't quite do it, but an opportunity to step back out on the field now and redeem themselves there was definitely some promise based on that last drive, and they got the Bishop Gorman defense tired. So we'll see if they can replicate that result to put the finishing touches on this time. They go to the air quickly. This was the theme of the last drive, but here the Bishop Gorman defense coming up quickly in the open field to make the tackle. Champ Kapaani.
I was calling for the screen with how disruptive that defensive front has been, but when you have a great player in Champ Kapaani, who probably expected it, he triggered on that, he read it, it looked like he saw that one coming ahead of time and forces a tackle for loss.
Champ, star linebacker on this team. Another quick throw over the middle, but another quick tackle. This time is Isaiah Duncan there to make the hit. On the receiving end, Kamari Smith for Long Beach Poly. That Bishop Gorman defense is sniffing it out now.
They feel like a snake that just, as they're wrapped around Long Beach Poly, they're just a step ahead of them right now.
Yep.
They're seeing things before they happen, and then they're finishing with some momentum, velocity, and violence.
Big third down, some time to throw for Curry. Wants his target. Caden Butler looking for him. Did he come down with it? It's a big grab for Butler. Their transfer picked up 9 scholarship offers to begin the summer. You see why on that play.
We know Curry was going to him. It was one-on-one with the safety in the middle of the field. That means there's no help. And Caden Butler, D1 offers. He's a D1 athlete, a D1 wide receiver. Sometimes when you're struggling, you just have to give your best players a chance. And you see Darius Curry just put it up in the air for his guy to have a chance to come down with it.
Big play for Caden Butler. Facing the back, bottled up on the ensuing play. But boy, when you need your big players to step up, they certainly do. And Butler did it there to keep this drive alive. And what was a third
Prince Williams with the stop for the Gales.
Again, this is a Long Beach Poly team with several very talented receivers who all have several Division I offers. Yep, bottom of your screen, that's Caden Butler. Instead, they go the opposite way, maybe opened up some room on that opposite side as a decoy. And now they have a play down inside the 10-yard line. Able to make the catch that time is Kamari Smith, and streaking over the field, picks up a big chunk.
Look at the structure and the aggressiveness of that Bishop Gorman defense. They really have no help, and Curry did a good job with pressure in his face, as we've seen all day, just getting the ball out of his hands and into his playmaker's hands. Almost a touchdown if it weren't for a shoe shot.
They want the touchdown here. Caden Butler in the end zone. That is incomplete.
Curry's pass was incomplete and intended for number 3, Caden Butler.
So again, they're moving quickly, and there's something working right now and clicking with the Long Beach Poly offense.
2nd and 10.
It goes back to start the drive, Jason, the passion that they had and getting each other fired up on the sideline. Guys, we didn't come all the way here just to roll over. They're going to fight till the very end.
Crossing route, touchdown for Long Beach Poly. They are on the board. Getting in the end zone there, Ezekiel Orozco. The slot wide out, found some space. Long Beach Poly saying we're not going anywhere.
You got to credit Caden Butler in a third down situation when his team needed him most. I mean, my goodness, can you imagine if they punted there? But nope, they throw it up to him. He makes a play right on his team's sideline. That's the spark they need, and they finally get in the end zone.
Excellent resilience from this Poly team. They came close in their last effort. This time they do put the finishing touches on. Back to a 2-score game, just under 6 to go. 2 prestigious programs going head-to-head in the Nike World headquarters.
Let's take another look at this touchdown by Long Beach Poly. So here's the defender to watch. They're trying to hit Orozco on the slant behind him, but this linebacker right here, is he going to bite on the run? Once we run this, notice how this run fake gets him downfield, and that opens up all the space right there in the middle of the field for an easy read for Darius Curry. You probably heard the term RPO. That means run pass option. Curry is reading that distracted linebacker. If he bites on the run, he's going to pull it and hit the slant, just like you saw for Long Beach Poly to score the touchdown on that last drive.
All came after a very passionate conversation on Coach Barbie's sideline. And then they pushed their way down the field, much like the previous drive, but this one they capitalize on. 22-7 now our score, 5:28 to go in the opening half. Second annual Nike Kickoff Classic, this game counting for both teams. Not allowing a return here on the short kick, but sets up Bishop Gorman with some pretty good field position.
These next 5.5 minutes are going to be a pivotal moment in this game, Jason. Bishop Gorman with the 2-score lead with the ball in their hands. Do they go down and extend this lead, or can Long Beach Poly force a stop and get the ball back for a chance to cut into this lead going into half?
Micah Alejado and Micah Kaapana were quite the tandem at QB and receiver on the last drive for Bishop Gorman. Now they have Devon Rice in running back. He catches it out of the backfield right on cue. Definitely a well-designed first down play, and he aggressively fights his way for some first down yardage and a little more.
That's the 4th or 5th time we've seen Bishop Gorman go to their running backs, whether it's Devin Rice or Micah Kaapana, out of the backfield. Long Beach Poly has had their hands full with the offense as a whole, but particularly in identifying where the running backs are in the pass game. It's been Alejado's favorite target to start the game, and one of many is hitting those running backs out of the backfield.
Gage Murr pushed him out of bounds, but not before a chunk gain to get inside of Poly territory. This time it's Gaia on the receiving end, cuts it back, showcasing the yards after the catch. A little yak, kind of looking like TJ Hushman's out of there back during his day, and he's able to fight his way for 8 yards with some contact. There is a Long Beach Poly player down on the field here, so their training staff will come out. Isaac Johnson, who's able to get up. Good to see him walking and now kind of settling down here to take a breather. Just under 5 to go in this opening half. Two programs with a lot of successful history, especially Bishop Gorman in recent years, and Long Beach Poly. You go back to the 90s, early 2000s, they were always one of the best programs in the country, have pumped out so much NFL talent over the years.
So much NFL talent, Jason, that here's a good fact for you. Long Beach Poly has produced the second most NFL players of any high school across America. 59 total players have came through Long Beach Poly and found their way in the NFL. That is extremely impressive.
That's incredible. Such a rich tradition and culture. Bursting up the middle is Devon Rice, and he has a touchdown. Devon Rice, the Hawaii commit, explodes into the end zone and extends this Bishop Gorman lead.
Once again, just take a look at the line. There is number 65, Olufatatuli, just getting up there, angry, playing nasty. I don't want my offensive line shaking hands and discussing business. I want them slobbering outside of the sides of their mouth and going to hit linebackers, baby. And they've been doing that all day. I think just on this next drive, you can just watch the line of scrimmage and watch it get moved by this talented, deep, big, strong Bishop Gorman offensive line.
So SJ Olafaatuli leading the way up front. I'm sure Devon Rice will be thanking him after watching this film tomorrow. Devon Rice, the latest touchdown for Bishop Gorman. A pretty happy sideline right now. Speaking of the Bishop Gorman sideline, let's go down to Taylor Davis.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jason. You know, that Bishop Gorman coaching staff is definitely business-minded, we could say, but that Devon Rice run even got them fired up. I was standing right next to all of them after it. They were high-fiving each other, looking at each other, saying, that was impressive. The patience leading up to the cut even got his very serious coaching staff fired up. But speaking of fire, guys, it is definitely hot down here. A lot of the guys being encouraged to get under the tents when possible, to drink water even if you don't think you're thirsty. That conditioning piece of it, keep in mind we're still early in the season and it is deceivingly hot for the Northwest right now.
It's very true. I mean, it's about 90 degrees, but can't imagine, Taylor, like you said, what it feels like down on the sideline and on the field with the heat rising up and the sun beaming down as you see Jordan Malahalu and Kamari Smith just let that kick roll into the back of the end zone. The Long Beach Poly offense will come back out. Still a big 4:25 left in this opening half for them, as we have seen their offense now in back-to-back drives get inside of the red zone, capitalizing on one of those drives. See if they can do the same potentially here against the number 2 team in the country in Bishop Gorman. Gorman, the heavy favorite entering today. They have enforced their will up front. That was showcased on the last touchdown. But credit this Long Beach Poly offensive line as well. Over the last couple of drives, they have helped create some balance for kind of the tempo that Long Beach Poly is trying to play with right now. Eduardo Orozco in motion. He had the last touchdown catch. Instead, they go to Kamari Smith here. Brought down by Jet Washington. Isaiah Duncan in on the hit as well.
A trend throughout this first half, Jason, is Long Beach Poly, the first down has been important because they get into this hurry-up offense. Once they get that first down, they can get hurried up and try to wear out and lean on the Bishop Gorman defensive line, but you can't do that without moving the chains at least once.
There is that hole opening up once again. Last week for Bishop Gorman, they kind of had a methodical nature about their offense. Right now, it's not necessarily methodical for Long Beach Poly offensively for them, but they're finding different ways to keep this groove going. And Joshua Kaysen leading the way at the rushing stop.
They call him Noodles. His nickname Noodles.
I love that nickname.
Yeah, it's a good nickname.
Slippery, right?
Slippery Noodles.
They fake it to him, and then the pressure came immediately. Bursting up the middle that time was Kialalu, the defensive lineman for Bishop Gorman.
Big time miscommunication there. He was looking for Kamari Smith. Kamari Smith was blocking. Maybe he thought it was a run. But one thing we know, this Bishop Gorman football team is so talented. Number 2 in all of high school football. You cannot beat yourself. If you're not on the same page, you really don't have a chance, because it's hard enough even when you are on the same page.
Had some more time. Once Caden Butler, we saw him make a catch over there earlier in the game. That pass, though, well out of bounds. Been a target in the spot. They've tried to find him. Brings up 4th and 3.
The last third down, they did a good job of at least giving your guy, Caden Butler, a chance, keep it in bounds. But once again, it's been the theme of this first half, the pressure from Bishop Gorman right in Darius Curry's face that time, under so much duress that the ball landed out of bounds, and there was no chance for Caden Butler to come down with it.
Jebediah Tupou back to punt here. Audric Harris will return for Bishop Gorman, and they mishandled the snap. Good on Jebediah Tupou to just get that punt away. Could have been really messy. Instead, it's a pretty good punt and takes a Long Beach Poly roll.
So we've talked about the tempo, Jason, and I pointed out that sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Why I don't like it, that drive started with about 4.5 minutes left in the second half, and the previous drive, Bishop Gorman got it and pretty much scored right away on a big-time touchdown run by Devon Rice. And when you go tempo, when you are Long Beach Poly and you run through 4 or 5 plays and you only burn a minute off the clock, all of a sudden you give the ball right back to a Bishop Gorman offense that's had no trouble scoring with plenty of time on the clock to further extend the lead going into half.
For For Bishop Gorman, their mentality was be detailed at practice yesterday. You don't want to be loose on Thursdays. You want to be loose when Friday rolls around. And they're playing pretty loose and comfy right now on offense. Alejado nearly spun away from pressure. Somehow did. Escapes, then cuts it back, but they mark him down. There were some late whistles there. Initially, the play kept going.
It was Isaac Johnson fighting, scratching, clawing. A little bit of miscommunication. Let's take a look at it, because was his knee down right there? It wasn't. It wasn't. Someone tell the official it's a little bit too late for that. Alejado said, wait a second, guys.
I think you'll look back on this film and wonder what could happen at the end of that run.
He's a magician, an escape artist.
Showcasing the magic there. Still has 2:40 to work with in this second quarter and 3 timeouts. Meanwhile, the Poly defense really needs a stop. Alejado showcasing the legs again. What he commit. He can do this. We've seen the deep shots. We've seen him get involved with his running backs. Kapana is the back end right now.
What a big, big gain there. You think about if it's a sack, you're backed up even further. All of a sudden, if Long Beach was able to sack him, it's 3rd and 20, 3rd and 25. But as we mentioned on the previous play, the escape artist, Alejado, is able to make something out of nothing, and at least it's 3rd and manageable. Maybe a little bit longer than 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13, but if it wasn't for him getting out of there, this would not be a good situation.
Able to throw a dart over the middle, and it is caught by Audric Harris. On 3rd and long, they have a first down gain inside of Long Beach Poly territory.
Arizona receiver has been heavily featured today, and it's just a standard boot route. Watch Alejado, he's rolling out to the left. You see the whole defense come, but they kind of lose Harris. You see him come open in the middle of the screen. Where is the Long Beach Poly defense? They're nowhere to be found.
Chad Caponui, the QB coach for Bishop Gorman, loving what he's seeing. Carlos Meadows down the side. Ain't it out of his hands. Rare drop. He'll probably put that as a drop in his books because we know he can make that play.
Yeah, he can make even harder than the play. We saw the big diving catch earlier. This one, Alejado said, hey, nice catch earlier in the drive. I'm going to try to drop it in the basket. Meadows, you can see the frustration. But if you are going to make a mistake in a game that you're up 29-7. Clearly frustrated. He's got Division I offers all across the country. He's capable of making that play. A little bit frustrated, but I can't imagine it affects Alejado. He may come back to him just to say I trust him.
Meadows is the state record in the 400 in track. He's looking his way again.
And he came back to him. But he said, hey, Meadows, you catch the ball better when it's outside of your frame. I'm going to put it up top for you there. Just dialing in.
It's a pretty tall frame, 6'7".
Yeah, I'm 6'6", or a little bit under it, right? And I'm sizing them like, man, what is this guy? Is he a tight end? No, he moves too good to be a tight end. Yeah, he's every bit of 6'6" with long, rangy arms. And one thing about him, too, is we saw on that route, he didn't catch it, but for a longer, rangier guy, sometimes they struggle dropping their weight. He does a good job of dropping his weight to create separation.
Alejado again comfy in the pocket, has Audric Harris on another reception for a first down. He gets out of bounds, importantly, as well, with 1:44 to go.
When you think about, you get to the NFL and there's tight hashes, but college and high school, it's these wide hashes, and that usually scares coordinators away. Look at this, the ball's on the left hash. Rarely do you see a quarterback have the arm strength to throw far way out to the right side of the field, but Alejado does. We know he can make every throw on this field. I've played at the college level and the NFL level. Some coordinators are not willing to call those plays even at the further levels, but Alejado has proved that he can make those plays.
Elijah Lofton wants a block. He's running the direction of Audric Harris, who laid one for him. There is a flag in that
number 9, Elijah
so we'll see what
Lofton,
this is
flag
for
on the
over
play.
on the far side of the field in front of the Bishop Gorman sideline.
Illegal formation on the offense, 5 in the backfield, 5-yard penalty, previous spot, replay 1.
So the penalty sets that back, negates the Elijah Lofton gain.
Negates the gain to the tight end.
That hurts. It hurt you in the soul.
It does.
You can feel it from over here.
Go back to him.
We need a drone replay of a tight end play for you at some point. I know you gotta love our drone replays here at the Ronaldo Field.
Who's flying the drones? That's a pretty cool job.
You think we could call the game and fly the drones at the same time?
No.
Shout out to Faith, who is the one flying the drone. She does a phenomenal job. Alejado looking for Harris again, has separation, but doesn't have the grab.
Pass falls incomplete. Was intended for number 2.
They're letting it fly now.
Alejado, he likes these. It's a go ball down the sideline. It's the out route. That time it was a corner route. He likes throwing the ball out to the edges of the field. He's certainly capable of doing it. Audric Harris ran almost like a post corner there, and he had just a step on him, but that time Alejado put a little too much juice on it. It's a couple times on this drive where he's been a little long on his throws.
The future Rainbow Warrior dumps it off to Ka'apana, who has speed and space on the sideline. Able to cut it ahead for another good gain. Kamari Shamel is the one who tripped him up there.
A good screenplay is about timing and deception. Watch this, 1 count, 2 count, 3 count. Then there goes the lineman and they release. And in the timing allows you, all of a sudden you got Ka'apana out with open space and a convoy of very elite offensive line out in front of him. It's an easy way to gain 10, 12 yards.
And it looks like an offense for a future Hawaii quarterback. That's how they air it out, get the backs involved. There is another flag down on the sideline here.
Number 34. 5-yard penalty. That'll result in a first down.
So it's a penalty against Long Beach Poly that'll give the Gales a first down here. Got Hicks on the call.
Under a minute left, I wonder if Bishop Gorman decides to run the ball to just eat up a little bit of this clock to ensure Long Beach Poly doesn't have a real scoring opportunity ahead of him.
The Bishop Gorman team returning 34 players from last season's title-winning team. Many of them on the side of this elite offense, including Ka'apana, who's wrapped up on the sideline there. Maybe a touchdown-saving tackle potentially there from Dante Wright, the junior.
If I'm Gorman, I'm going to call that play 4 or 5 times a drive because Long Beach Poly has completely forgotten about the running back out of the backfield. That's the 4th or 5th time where it's just been an easy completion. There seems to be no one. I don't know whether it's the edge rusher or a linebacker or a safety that's supposed to have the running back in coverage, but they've left Ka'apana open for 8, 9, 10-yard gains multiple times to start this game.
Does that play into how effective these receivers and tight ends are?
It all works together. I mean, this offense is extremely talented.
They go to one of them in the end zone. It is Audric Harris able to find the touchdown and pad this Bishop Gorman lead. The senior Arizona commit. Here's a drone replay for you.
Look at all the bodies there in the box, and that's because of how successful they've been running it down there. And then you see Audric Harris right over the slot, running a stick route. We talked about all the out routes throughout the day, and then he puts his foot in the ground. We call that a stick nod. So it's a complementary route off of what Poly had seen, all the outbreaking routes. Puts his foot in the ground and stems right back to the middle.
Senior Alejado able to lead that drive down the field. 36 first-half points for this explosive Bishop Gorman offense that scored 62 a week ago in Utah. As Jake mentioned, inside of the final minute now of this opening half in the game that does count on these two teams' records. Both schools 1-0 on the year. Long Beach Poly head coach Stephen Barbie and Brent Browner, the head coach for Bishop Gorman. We'll see that again.
So here's where it all starts, right? Look at all these bodies at the line of scrimmage, and here's Audric Harris. He's been running these outbreaking routes, and then bang, watch how that affects the defender. He's going to put his foot in the ground. He's a technician. He's going to Arizona because he's one of the best receivers. There's the out, and then bang, puts his foot in the ground. And because of all those bodies, right about 5 yards over the line of scrimmage, there's no one in the middle of the field to help. And when you're a DB guarding Audric Harris, you typically like to look back at a safety and say, I need a little bit of help here. This guy's pretty darn good at the receiver position.
There's Brent Browner, the head coach for Bishop Gorman. This program that just continuously pumps out top college talent. Same story this year. They do so much to prepare their players for that level. Those whistles will blow this return dead. They announced it as a touchback over the air. 36-7, the Bishop Gorman lead. Gorman won the Class 5A state championship a season ago, finished top 5 nationally in the nation. Those are definitely among the top goals once again this year for this dominant program. Long Beach Poly in these moments. Love talking with Stephen Barbie earlier today, just the emotion he brings to the table, the care he has for his players, that for the most part all come from the east side of Long Beach. And they're coming in here with that mentality of loving one another, no matter if you're winning, you're losing, keeping the mentality of playing the same way. Was a part of what he talked about for us earlier today. We'll have some time to reset in the locker room pretty soon. Had promising drives, had promising moments in this opening half. But the Bishop Gorman offense, and as
Please
Jake talked
reset
about,
the game clock to 46 seconds.
as Jake talked about, the running backs in the backfield, just how dynamic this Bishop Gorman offense is, has really played a role in the scoreboard that we see right now.
Jason, our conversation with Stephen Barbie, we normally get into the weeds, the X's and O's, what's the scheme? Over half of our time was spent about things not related to X and O's. It was about love, it was about culture, the importance on academics. One of his biggest smiles and most prideful points was talking about the honor roll students he has on this team.
Yep, team GPA has been sky high this season, as the connection is made on the sideline there. Kaden Butler, another catch, player with a super bright future. 4.0 team GPA. That's been a point of pride for this roster. And they said getting ready for games each week, it's no different than an algebra test. You got to put your work in, and then that'll show up when you take the test. Is Darius Curry, the Colorado State commit, on a broken play.
That's going to be a massive, massive flag on Darius Curry. I mean, that was a high shot. Oh my goodness, so unnecessary.
Should be an unnecessary roughness call here.
Oh my goodness, yeah. That's.
Likely see the chains move for Long Beach Poly. Here's the call.
Personal foul, roughing the passer to the face. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Here it is. I mean, it's a quarterback. Look, he's laying out to throw it. Bang, launches right into the helmet. I mean, listen, at the college level, you're getting kicked out. And honestly, look, I like it. I like it. If that's my offensive lineman, you're going to do that to my quarterback, I'm going to come over and mix it up with you. I get it. It's football. It's going to be physical. These things are going to happen at times, but just glad Darius Curry's okay. That was a real shot.
Hit.
Yeah.
Forcible contact with the helmet there. Well, he pops back up. Good to see.
For Charles Correa, man, you're out of the game at the next level, the NFL level. You're out on that kind of hit.
Curry gets spiraled down. See if they mark that down as he got away. I think they're going to mark him down at the 40. And the tackle and sack on the opposite side there, made by Prince Williams, who had 13 tackles a week ago in Utah, a couple of sacks, so back-to-back weeks with a sack for Prince Williams. By the way, his sister Persea is here watching. She played for the girls' flag team for Bishop Gorman yesterday. Got a couple of wins. They're best friends. Pretty cool getting to watch each other. Let's go down to Taylor. Taylor, wasn't that so cool yesterday?
It was one of our favorite stories out of the flag football game for sure. Like you said, his sister Priscilla was speaking about their relationship. She said, I actually learned how to block from my brother. She said, we're super competitive with each other. But they actually come from a Samoan family, and obviously that is rich in tradition. And she said one of the traditions is typically that the Samoan sons play football and the daughters play volleyball. And she said, I love that I've been given the opportunity to flip that script, and it's a daughter that's playing football. And I thought it was the perfect example of what yesterday's, flag football game, but also the initiative of Nike and the NFL to put it on this platform was all about. Priscilla said it's time for us to kind of take ownership of it, and obviously my brother and I now get to share in that sport, and it's not typical for the Samoan traditions, but she said that it's up to us to get to flip the script if we choose to do so. So she is here in attendance cheering on her brother, and it's definitely a family sport now. You love to see it.
Love it. It's a sport everyone can play, and the flag football part of this weekend was so neat yesterday. We had 4 games, 5 teams. Some of the players from Long Beach Poly's girls flag football team as well are here. Same thing on the Bishop Gorman side, and vice versa. These players were rooting on their teams yesterday, their classmates. Oh, a dangerous lateral, and that'll be a turnover. Just trying to create something there in the final minute, and they give it away. Just snatching that out of the air pretty cleanly was Charles Correa, the UNLV commit. So Bishop Gorman gets it right back.
Listen, it looks like maybe they were running a hook and ladder there, but you have to have the awareness. That's not the time to pitch it. That's not the time to try for that. And as we're sitting up here in the booth, as Long Beach Poly walks off the field, Jason, just some size, just a deflating end to a frustrating first half there. Just haven't been able to get much going consistently. There's been spots offensively for Poly, but in terms of consistent offensive success, that's been Gorman's MO and not Poly's.
Looks like we just got a timeout on the sideline. Long Beach Poly will talk things over here. Their final timeout of the half, 12 seconds to go.
I just want to take a second there. Darius Curry, the quarterback, number 1, Long Beach Poly. He's taken some absolute shots in this half.
He stood tall.
Is struggling. Listen, football players, it's the man in the arena. You're warriors, right? Sometimes you get the glory of victory. Sometimes you take the beating of a loss. And he's taken some real shots. That big one there, helmet to helmet, personal foul to end the half. But one thing that stands out is he's not a huge body type. He's not a Ben Roethlisberger, right? But the toughness. And it'd be easy for him to turn on his offensive line and say, guys, come on, get it together. But I don't see him hanging his head. Every time he takes a shot, he pops right back up, he adjusts his chin strap, and he's ready to go for more. And I want to give him some serious credit and highlight the leadership and the character of the young man that is Darius Curry that he's shown throughout this first half.
And what's the Long Beach Poly mentality they talked about? It's not about me, it's about what I can do for you. He's always playing for his teammates. Some trickle here with 2 QBs in right now for Gorman. They found Elijah Lofton in the process, trying to beat the clock. 5 seconds and ticking. He does slide out of bounds. We'll see where they mark this. Right now there's 1 second left on the first half clock, as Bishop Gorman pulling out all the stops. 39-yard gain. They brought in 2 different QBs here.
Well, how do you stop this one, right? There's so many weapons on this Bishop Gorman offense. Is it a jet sweep to the right? Then it's back to the quarterback. Which receiver he's going to throw to? Actually, it's not a receiver. It's a tight end, Elijah Lofton. And, he's in protection initially. It's easy for him to get lost in the mix before he leaks off into the wide open space out to the left side of the field. Unfortunately there, Jason, he's down on the sidelines right now getting tended to. I don't know if it's a cramp.
Kind of getting stretched out.
It is hot out
here.
Yeah.
They brought in Micah Alejado and Melvin Spencer. That was different looking play offensively for Bishop Gorman, and it paid off. Big gain. They do officially have 2 seconds, Jake, on the clock here in the opening half.
It was 1, and now, Jason, it is 2.
Added a second on. Second more.
It's only 1
with.
second, but it's twice as long.
That is very true. Sounds larger than it is.
That being said,
all about how you perceive things in life.
You probably send out the field goal team here, right?
That feels like the right option right now. And these are 2 teams that both score a lot over the last couple of seasons. It's a Long Beach Poly team, by the way, that went 10-0 in the regular season last year. Right now they're down in this, what is a regular season matchup that is counting towards each team's record, and a part of Long Beach Poly's mentality of Stephen Barbie. We want to play the best teams, not only in the state of California, but around the country. And that is quite literally exactly what you're doing right now here in Beaverton, the Nike Kickoff Classic, second annual Nike Kickoff Classic. Jake Butt, Jason Ross Jr., Taylor Davis. And now McKay Bone will come on to attempt this field goal. His mom Markel, dad Brent, and grandpa Phil all watching on. And he splits the uprights right in front of his family members and wraps up the half on a high note for Bishop Gorman. That'll conclude our first half of action here in Beaverton. The explosiveness of Bishop Gorman been on display. They're up 39-7 at the break. Welcome back to the second annual Nike Kickoff Classic here in Beaverton, Oregon. Beautiful shot of the 286-acre Nike World Headquarters facility here in Beaverton. 39-7, the Bishop Gorman lead over Long Beach Poly. In this matchup of two prestigious programs with a ton of rich history. Bring you back into the booth, Jason Ross Jr., Jake Butt, Taylor Davis with us as well. Jake, this weekend started yesterday with the girls' flag teams playing. We had 4 games, 5 different teams in action, a couple of which are here to watch these teams today. And then today we get this awesome matchup. Lopsided score right now, but nonetheless, it has been an incredible experience for all these schools.
It's been a great few days, and you know, football is family is a phrase that gets said a lot. You mentioned both these boys team have a girls team that they all got to watch play yesterday, and then the girls team are watching the boys team play today. It's been awesome.
Here are some of the girls' highlights from yesterday. Irvington there. That's Janasia Wilson. It came all the way from New Jersey. It was quite literally a coast-to-coast event this year. Teams from Jersey, teams from the Chicago area, California teams going head-to-head. That's Sarah Gardena versus Long Beach Poly on the girls' side, and Long Beach Poly really showed out, ended up winning that game, and now those players are in attendance watching their classmates on the boys' side. And then you look at this game, Jake, today. It's a Bishop Gorman team ranked number 2 in the country. Reigning state champs in Nevada on the 5A level. They're looking right now like they could repeat.
Yeah, I don't know if there was much questions, but if you did have a question how good Bishop Gorman is, I think it's all been answered there in the first half. Absolutely dominant for both quarters on both sides of the ball. I don't know what you do as a defense to stop all of the weapons Bishop Gorman has. You got a great quarterback. You're too deep at the running back position. You see a tight end here, back shoulder fade, and then we've seen 3, 4, 5 different receivers making plays downfield. It has surely been an impressive first half for Bishop Gorman.
There's Micah Kaapana, one of multiple touchdowns for him. Long Beach Poly had answers offensively, knocked on the door once, were able to find the end zone another time, but they just couldn't stop the offensive line in this ground game. There's Devon Rice, the Hawaii commit. A couple of high fives there with his future Hawaii teammate. Micah Alejandro, the QB who has led the way today for Bishop Gorman. More football coming up on the other side here in Beaverton.
This is the part where I show you the skill. Gotta find out if they playing for real. Gotta find out what they plan to do.
Second half of action set to get underway here in Beaverton. Beautiful Ronaldo Field, tucked into the Nike World Headquarters campus. Let's go down to Taylor Davis for updates on both coaches.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. I spoke with both coaches at halftime, and no surprise, Bishop Gorman's Coach Browner was feeling pretty good at the half. I'm not going to lie. He said he's really pleased with how his team has taken advantage of this opportunity. The moment wasn't too big. He said it's everything that we have emphasized to them in practice. We're seeing it in live action. Of course, he called out his quarterback, Micah Alejado. He said, I really love how he's controlling the game. He said, I never even know who's going to have the big game because he reads the field so well and gets it to the appropriate guy. Now, for Long Beach Poly, the focus was execution. He said, we had 4 drives in the red zone and we only came away with 7 points. He said, we're worrying too much about who they are and not enough about who we are.
Well, the word and the phrase that you hear from first quarter to fourth quarter on the Bishop Gorman sideline is lock in, and they stay locked in for 4 quarters. That's why they've had so much success over the last few years. Long Beach Poly and Stephen Barbie trying to get this second half started off on a high note. He gets great halftime speeches. You almost wish he could have been in the locker room back with him during the breather. Looking for his team to come out re-energized. They played with a lot of heart, a lot of passion, especially their QB, Darius Curry, who took some hard hits in that opening half, but stood tall in the pocket and made some excellent throws. Maybe see if he and Caden Butler can get re-involved here with one another on this drive.
Now the mindset going into this third quarter is score aside, right? The game's not over. You still got 2 quarters, but the score doesn't matter at this point. It's early in your season. There's a long season ahead of you. So operate. Use every drive as a chance to work on your identity, your schemes, your system. Build on some of the things you did well in the first half and try to correct some of those mistakes that caused you to fall so far behind in this game.
There is a fabric in the culture as the flags go flying, the culture of this Long Beach Poly program.
False start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1.
There's a fabric that kind of ties to every moment is a life lesson. And as you talked about, I felt like 95% of our conversation earlier with Stephen Barbie wasn't about football. It was about the lessons away from football that tie onto the field and the rich tradition of this program. We get backed up here with the penalty.
Very frustrating to come out of halftime. You have a great halftime speech, and then to have a dead ball penalty.
There's Cole. Touchdown today for Long Beach Poly. Ezekiel Orozco, the junior wide receiver. He's a really cool story. Only receiver without a D1 offer on this roster, as Hayden Stepp made the play there. But he had over 100 yards receiving last week in Long Beach Poly's season opening win. Again, it's a Long Beach Poly team that is 1-0. Defeated Kanawaiena 60-28 in Hawaii. It was a super cool trip for this team to take to the Big Island. Going to the sideline once again. Looks like that should be a completion to Jordan Malaulu. A lot of players on the roster with Hawaiian or Samoan roots.
Just to go back to that story on Orozco being the only receiver without a D1 offer but having over 100 yards last week, it speaks on Darius Curry and the system as a whole. They have individual talent, but you go back to last year, they had 6 different receivers with 20 or more catches. So when you think about Darius Curry, as you see him tuck it and run and move the chains, do it with his feet right here. To tie it all together, nearly an 80% career completion rate. A big piece of that is not just locking in on one specific receiver. He's reading across the entire defense and taking what they give to him. Last week it was Orozco. This week it's been Caden Butler. A couple shots down the field has been his go-to guy, but it speaks on his fluidity to take what the defense gives him.
Never really locks into one target. He's got a wealth of different options on the roster again this year. Finds another one. Kamari Smith this time, but a really good tackle coming up to make the play there was Alexander Perez, junior DB.
Again, take a look at Perez here. He'll be coming off the left side of your screen. Look at him. He's sitting there back in that curl hook to flat zone, and he sees this from a mile away. Trust his eyes and triggers downfield to make the tackle. We've seen this a couple times. This Bishop Gorman defense and offense, team as a whole, they're talented, but they're really intelligent. The football IQ's there, and then the speed to close and make the plays has been apparent throughout the game.
Yeah, right from the get-go. They bring pressure off the edge. Curry has to improvise. And the fumbled ball is loose. Still available. It looks like Bishop Gorman nearly pounced on it, but ultimately Long Beach Poly will keep possession here. He's taking some hits today.
Yeah, he's
Sione Matsu Apuku came up to make the play there.
Sione is a big fella now. He had those big old bear paws wrapped around him. Initially, Darius Curry stepped up and avoids the edge rush. But once again, just taking a big-time shot, and that time it led to a fumble. Got up a little bit slow, but I just see the leadership. He's not pointing any fingers. Here he is, back taking the snap and ready to go again.
No excuses. And it looks like he might have just picked up a first down on that throw. Able to connect with Jordan Malaulu. And that time, some good protection up front from the Long Beach Poly offensive line.
Malaulu, Fresno State commit, so he's going on to Fresno State to continue his career as a receiver. And one thing you got to note, listen, it's third down. You have to run your route beyond the sticks. Understand you're going to come back to the football.
They didn't give him the first on the previous play, but they definitely get it this time. Trying to break tackles here is Luke Buggs. Ultimately dragged down there by Tamatoa Natiote.
So watch him, you see him pump fake right there. That's because there was a zone defender sitting right underneath. So Darius Curry wanted to get that out early to Buggs, but he had to pump fake it. He clutched it once, let the route develop, and then was able to get it to Buggs. And a great catch. It was a little bit behind him. Sometimes those are difficult catches, but a big catch indeed to move the chains on fourth down.
Have something cooking again here. Can Curry use his legs? He will. What a juke move from Curry. And he waltzes into the end zone. Wow, what a little shimmy there. And Darius Curry, that's what they wanted out of the locker room. Frustrating first half. This goal creates some happiness on the sideline.
Well, eventually you see these edge rushers. You notice how they get right upfield. And what Darius Curry's done a good job of is keeping his eyes downfield throughout the game. Gatsatoe, the linebacker, steps up to try to make the play, but he sees Curry's eyes down the field. Curry's able to kind of juke him a little bit back inside, and then right down the pipe. There's no defenders in the middle of the field. He's allowed to use his speed and showcase that for a nice rushing touchdown.
Jonas Mendoza, the freshman kicker, on to attempt this extra point. Mentioned Darius Curry's a dual threat guy. Saw the elusiveness on display there. Get a timeout called by Long Beach Poly.
Yeah, listen, just you think about the game that Curry's had, right? He's done some nice things, but he's also taken some serious shots from the Bishop Gorman defense. Sometimes with quarterbacks, once you get beaten and battered and bruised, you get a little bit antsy in the pocket, you know, and the rush starts to surround you, and you just don't keep your eyes down the field. You don't stay disciplined with your technique. I think that's a great example of Darius Curry and his toughness. Even though he's taking those shots, he's staying disciplined to his technique, keeping his eyes down the field, which was allowed him to make that juke and then eventually scramble for a nice explosive touchdown. But that doesn't happen if he doesn't have the toughness, even as a smaller guy, to have taken those shots and still stand tall throughout the pocket.
You mentioned one of the targets he found on the drive, Jordan Malaulu, who's committed to Fresno State. Comes from an athletic family. His dad played QB at Arizona, aunt played volleyball at Oregon State. Sister played softball at Mississippi State. Part of this drive that results in some points. Flag goes flying here. Maybe some movement.
So what you're saying is watch out for the next generation of Malaulu.
Exactly.
Because
it's just generation, next
ingrained into
generation.
their blood. Yeah.
Prior to the snap, encroachment defense, half the distance to the goal, remains an untimed down.
Imagine the family gatherings there, how competitive that must get. Hey, you want to play cornhole? Yeah, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna kick your butt. so many athletes. Whatever they're doing, I can imagine it gets really, really competitive at the family outings.
The backyard games, the mind games, whatever it might be. He's also, by the way, Jordan, the third baseman and a pitcher on the baseball team. Looks like they're going to go for 2 now here. Why not?
That ball is right there on the 1 yard line.
Ton of flags flying here.
Prior to the snap, false start, the entire team offense.
That's my favorite call. The entire team. By the way, Jack, I know you know a little something about the family competition. You've got several brothers. You know a little something about that. Cool feeling the family atmosphere around here this week, though, at the second annual Nike Kickoff Classic. Again, both of these teams had girls teams on the flag football side that played yesterday. And now we're here watching their boys teams trying to root them on. Curry, quick throw to the back of the end zone, and they do complete the 2-point conversion. Able to connect with Orozco, who he found for a touchdown earlier in the game. Still plenty of time left. 8:39 to go in the third quarter. This is what Long Beach Poly wanted out of the break. Darius Curry, their leader. Look at Micah Alejado, who has been a key part of the Bishop Gorman. Now 39 points on the board with 8:39 to go in this third quarter. The lefty Hawaii commit, senior, who knows he'll be playing his college football pretty soon. His QB coach, Chad Kapanui, is the dad of Champ Kapanui, who's a linebacker on the roster. And Chad said Micah is one of the most intelligent QBs he's ever coached. Incredibly competitive, very accurate. Micah was born and raised in Hawaii. He knows he's going back home to his home state to play his college football. His QB personal coach over the years has been Vinny Passis, who also coached Tua Tagovailoa on a personal standpoint back in Hawaii. And Tua, Jake, also a lefty, so some comparisons between the two. And a really good coach in Vinny Passis, who's been guiding Micah Alejado to now this point of his senior year. There's a big hit on special teams, some lumber laid over by the sideline before Alejado takes the field. Making the hit there was Dylan Williams. Big collision.
Yeah, we can hear it up here in the booth. Watch this one. Boom! No, listen. Put the face mask right on the shoulder. You stay away from the helmet. That's a clean tackle.
Bro, D will.
Listen, that's a good start for Long Beach Poly. I don't know how quite enough time to come back, but if you do, that's a great start. You go down and score. You get on special teams. You make an electric play. They got the sidelines fired up. Let's see if their defense can continue some of this momentum.
Dylan Williams again. He's playing in the state where he's going to be playing his college football pretty soon. Oregon commit. Here's a hole up the middle, and it's a gaping one. And now greenery ahead. It is Miles Norman. He's going to take this all the way to the house. "71 yards for Norman. And he has bursted this game wide open.
This is such a deep running back room for Bishop Gorman, but once again, I think the story of this day has been the holes created by this explosive, strong offensive line. Of course, you got great talent in the running back room, but it starts with the O-line.
Norman goes 71 yards, another gaping hole, another running back thanking this awesome Gorman offensive line.
Welcome back in, folks, and boy, do we have a treat for you. Let's give some love to the big fellas up front. Look at this center, number 55, Kala Niavola. It's going to be inside zone to the left. Look at the double team. And then bang, he licks that linebacker. We call that bloody in your lip. You could drive a bus through that hole, and Miles Norman, he's got all the talent in the world, clearly the speed, but it's a lot easier when your O-line is able to create those big creases, and it starts with the double team. You have to displace that down lineman, and then when you come up on the linebacker, we call it bloody the lip. Put your face mask in his ear and let your running back do the rest.
Most of the day, we'd seen Micah Ka'apana and Devon Rice. Now Miles Norman rips off a 71-yarder to give Bishop Gorman a 46-15 lead. Just a gaping hole up the middle. Again, as Jake mentioned, opened up by Alai Kala Niuvalu, the junior who has plenty of offers up front on the O-line for Bishop Gorman. Kamari Smith on the return here, looking for some space. Brought down by Eli Yamachali. A little under 9 to go in this third quarter.
Jason, you go back to week 1 for both teams, explosive offensive performances, but both teams' defenses didn't exactly play a perfect game, particularly Bishop Gorman. In that first half, they struggled to get stops. But as we talked to their coach, Brent Browner, he said, hey, this defense, as the game went on, they got better every single quarter and played their best football in the fourth quarter. I think what we've seen in this first half into the third quarter now is an improved Bishop Gorman defense, picking up where they left off in the fourth quarter last week. I know they gave up a touchdown last drive, but outside of that, it's been a dominant performance by Bishop Gorman's defense.
It was the details. They wanted to tidy up. Felt like they missed on some plays by inches last week in Utah. And gave up a little over 40 points in that one, 63-42 win. Ultimately, it was a win at the end of the day, and now they're on track to start 2-0. Bishop Gorman program that has returned 34 players from last season. Really elite offensively, and we saw it again on that 71-yard run. And now over the middle, this is dangerously clipped off the hands of Caden Butler, the intended target.
One area that Long Beach Poly needs to improve upon is their pass protection. And Bishop Gorman has brought a number of different blitzes. On the first play, it was a corner blitz. That time it was a nickel blitz. We'll watch what they line up here, 3rd and long. Maybe they stay in pass coverage. But as a running back and an offensive line, you need to see where the pressure is coming from to get some of these big shots off your quarterback in Darius Curry. Doesn't look like they're going to bring any exterior pressure here. A linebacker blitz in the middle.
They do bring the blitz, and they're able to get to Curry in the backfield. Initially in the linebacker blitz, it was Nago Otiete, and then getting there to make the play. We'll see it again here.
That was actually a better job of your running back, Noodles Kassan, to step up in the pocket and take a shot off the linebacker. But that time, even though the interior was sound, it was the 2 edge rushers that came around and were able to be disruptive. So it's been a frustrating half for Long Beach Poly. When the interior steps up, the edge rushers are winning, and occasionally you'll get some good protection against the edge rushers, and the interior wins. They just haven't been able to put it all together in terms of pass protection.
And it's a young offensive line for Long Beach Poly, just 1 returning starter this year. We've kind of seen that. You mentioned against the talented edge rushers against Bishop Gorman today. Able to get this punt off. Roderick Harris. Fair catch that.
We talk about offensive line, that's been the story. I mean, highlighted on the huge touchdown run last drive for Bishop Gorman. That time we saw the poor pass protection for Long Beach Poly, but you just think about it and you hear this word complementary football all the time. What does that really mean? Well, an offensive line is made up of 5 individuals. You got 2 tackles, 2 guards, and a center. But the good units work as one unit. They're 5 individuals working as one. Bishop Gorman has done that throughout the day, but Long Beach Poly, it feels like they're separated. They're all working as individuals and they're not on the same page.
Get some flags flying here.
Action on the defense. 12 on the field when the snap was imminent. 1st down and 5.
Jake, to your point about this offensive line having to act like one and the challenges of that, I've even seen it down here on the sideline. They're not just playing as one. Everything they've been doing down here, they're doing together. They're together on the sidelines. They're together huddled around these TV monitors looking at adjustments. This unit truly embodies a unit, and that doesn't just start when they cross the line.
No, Taylor, I went to the University of Michigan. I played football there. We have a legendary coach named Bo Schembechler. Michael Abana will know that when he running back for Bishop Gorman when he gets there. But he had a phrase that I think applies to that. The team, the team, the team. It sounds so simple. When you're a part of it, though, it's so clear and evident how important that is. Jim Harbaugh would tell us there's nothing like being on a ball team, right? You go through all the offseason together, you work out, and then when you win and you succeed, it's the greatest joy that these young guys will experience ever on the field of competition.
Something to be said about O-line chemistry that doesn't get talked about a lot. These O-linemen have chemistry up front as that pass is complete on the far sideline there. Another auto completion, able to find Kino Watson. Number 8 in white for Bishop Gorman. Go ahead. To speak to that offensive line chemistry lately, most of these guys, they're the same class, too, so they're kind of going through the process together. And know they'll all be on the Division I level for the most part in a couple of years. Alejado once left in the one-on-one coverage play there. He typically wins those battles. But something Long Beach Poly pointed out is it's not any team in the country have a corner that can match up against that size.
Not corner, safety, linebacker. Maybe you need 2 of them to try. He's just so talented, and this game showcases it. He's lined up in the backfield. He's ran the ball. He's caught a couple of these back shoulders. He's done a deep crosser, which is a staple route for most tight ends. It's been a complete game for Elijah Lofton, and a game really where it's not like he's the featured guy. There's been 5 or 6 featured guys on this Bishop Gorman offense.
Alejado looking for his 6'6" target. That's Meadows. It is incomplete.
So watch this right here. Derek Meadows is a 6'6" receiver, and he's working against Long Beach Poly defensive back Julius Johnson. Yeah, and he does a good job. Listen, whenever a guy's that tall, you don't want to let him beat you on the line of scrimmage. He's so tall and long, and Julius Johnson did a good job of getting up in his grill there. You notice he got his hands on him early, and he forced him out towards the sideline. If you give Derek Meadows too much space, that's a route he's typically going to win and come down with. But if you push him to the sideline, then there's only a yard or 2 to work with. And you see there, he catches the ball, ends up going out of bounds. He's not able to come down with it.
Injured Long Beach Poly player being helped off the field here. And this Long Beach Poly sideline, it's staying passionate, and they're trying to just continuously pump the energy into the opportunity, as you mentioned earlier, Jake, that is still in the field to try to improve play-by-play and carry that over to next week. They'll play Mission Viejo, which is another tough challenge. Talked about Stephen Barbie wanting to take all the challenges possible.
Mission Viejo, another decorated, historically great high school football program. But as you just said there, partner, Stephen Barbie's not afraid of it. He believes in these guys, and this is one of their toughest out-of-conference schedules that they've had in program history. And we asked him about it. He said, yeah, you know what? It's because I believe in these guys. And the only way we can find out how good we are is if we play against the best that the nation has to offer. And sometimes you win those, Jason, sometimes you lose them, but either way, as long as you're improving and you're building upon it, there's something to be said about that.
Miles Norman once again into the end zone, his second rushing touchdown of the quarter. Plows his way ahead. The previous one was a 71-yarder. This one a bit shorter, same result.
I can't even call them nameless, faceless, because they've made so many plays, but in a sense it is named. It doesn't matter who it is in the running back. Certainly all talented and great running backs, but the holes that are being created by this Bishop Gorman offensive line allows for these guys to showcase their full talent. Miles Norman now back-to-back drives with big-time touchdowns.
McKay Bone able to complete the extra point. As Jake mentioned, back-to-back possessions with a Miles Norman rushing touchdown for Bishop Gorman. (53-15), the Bishop Gorman lead. Second annual Nike Kickoff Classic. Such an awesome, well-done event by Nike. Bishop Gorman up 53-15. See their supporters on the sideline coming from Las Vegas, Nevada. Long Beach Poly made the trip up from Southern California. Two very historic programs. Long Beach Poly will have the next offensive possession. They began the season 1-0, defeated Kanawaena 60-28 in Hawaii on August 11th. It was such a cool trip for Stephen Barbie's team. He said, in addition to the game, the biggest goal was getting his team on the island and getting the experience. They actually had 15 players who had never been on a plane before. And he said it was just great to go out there and have everybody's eyes opened up, have a new perspective on life. And of course, there are several players on the team with Samoan roots, so it was just super, super cool getting to see a different part of the world. A part of their trip was altered because of the tragic fires on the island, but they did get to spend a lot of time on the beach, had some really fun moments. Kanawaena, which is one of the top high school programs on the island, invited all of the Long Beach Poly players, coaches, and families for Jaka a luau on their campus before the game. They got in on Tuesday. That was Thursday evening. Also had a ton of really cool Hawaiian dishes and dancing in the gymnasium of Kanawaena. So it just sounded like a super cool week. And to get that eye-opening experience like they're getting here this weekend is just so invaluable.
Oh, man. No kidding. And we can go all the way back to that interview with TJ Hujmanzada earlier in the show, right? He said, man, these kids, the odds are that they won't get the chance to have another opportunity like this. And Hawaii is a really cool experience. I've spent some time there, and obviously with the familial ties, it makes it that much more special. But what a great experience to be in high school and to do this with guys you grew up with and you play football with, and to do it as a team, it just adds on to that. And here we are at Nike World Headquarters, Jason, and I can reflect back to my time. I was at the Nike The Opening Camp back in high school. I was about 17 years old. It was the furthest west I'd ever traveled. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and similar to these teams playing the best against the best, it was the top 150 players in high school ball, and I got to do a 7-on-7 tournament, hang out with the guys and compete against the best. That was the coolest experience I had in terms of competitive sports up until that point in my life, and I still cherish it to this day, similar to these guys this week.
See Darius Curry, the Colorado State commit, connecting with Orozco on the sideline. To your point, to your point, is just such a cool experience right from the start of us arriving and getting to meet the Long Beach Poly girls flag players, how pumped they were to be here. We had girls flag teams from all the way in New Jersey, flying literally across the country, getting in at 3 a.m. and beyond excited to practice and play on these fields. If you weren't with us yesterday, we had 4 games, 5 girls flag teams. And now today, the boys tackle game between Bishop Gorman and Long Beach Poly. Gorman brought a blitz off the edge. There's a flag kind of in the holding zone. Just going to loft this up. Trying to come back to make the play there was Kamari Smith, but this may be a hold. There was an initial blitz off the edge from Prince Williams. They kind of flushed Curry out of the pocket.
Another Poly guy down. It's wide receiver number 5, Kamari Smith. Just as we've talked about, it's the heat. It's another cramp.
On the play, both on the offense. Holding offense, that penalty's declined. Illegal forward pass, the quarterback was beyond the line. That's a 5-yard spot foul from the spot of the foul. Loss of down, 4th down.
As far as experience goes, too, we're sitting up here in the booth as the sun's setting here at the Nike World Headquarters. I don't know, I played at a lot of different stadiums in my life, in my football career. I don't know that there's been a more beautiful campus and football field, particularly for these high school athletes. This is one of the most beautiful fields I've ever seen. I'm sure these guys are having a great time and a great experience.
There's something about how the trees align across the field. It's such a beautiful campus, 286 acres, over 75 buildings. Even getting to just walk around here and bike around here is so amazing. Gonna be a fair catch here on the punt.
Seeing all the cool Nike athletes too.
Yeah. Let's go to Taylor.
Well, guys, we saw another Poly player down. It looked to be cramping, and something I've noticed down here is just the difference in the sidelines at this point of the day. Long Beach Poly is definitely still in the direct sunlight. That heat is still affecting them. Bishop Gorman has been completely shaded this entire second half. So they were rested in the locker room and came out to a fully shaded sideline. I mean, that's the nature of this part of season, right? We'll see it the first few weeks of all of football, really. And I definitely think that it is boding well. A lot of these guys seeming a lot more rested on the Bishop Gorman side.
They've gotten deeper and deeper into this roster, going to Melvin Spencer now at QB. Wonder if Micah Alejandro will stay on the sideline the rest of this game. Get Melvin Spencer some reps, another really talented QB, Melvin Spicer. And he's got some offers as well. And we saw him in the opening half. We saw him on the play where they brought in 2 quarterbacks, which was pretty slick, a different look. So maybe they will bring back in Micah Alejandro just to give us that 2 QB look again. Wonder if more teams start to do that.
Teams have such a luxury to have your second quarterback with offers.
Right.
You know.
They've also used 3 running backs today. We've seen all of them find the end zone. All of them have offers as well. Devon Rice, the Hawaii commit. Also seen Micah Kaapana, the Michigan commit. And then making a name for himself in this third quarter has been Miles Norman. The 71-yard touchdown run.
Look at that shot. I mean, this is a little bit of what we're talking about, right? The sun setting on the campus, the trees framing in the stadium. So cool.
Back to Miles Norman once again. Maybe another touchdown saving tackle made there. Looks like it was Dylan Williams.
When they went to the run, it has been 5, 10, 15. Look, let's see when he gets touched. Right here. There's 5 yards. 10 yards. Yeah, touchdown saving tackle. But look, whoever it is, whether it's Devin Rice or Micah Kaabana or Miles Norman, whoever's in at running back, they have not been touched consistently inside of 5 yards throughout the day. It has been a dominant performance, and you got to give credit. It's been a dominant performance by the big fellas up front across the offensive line for Bishop Gorman.
You look at the size up front, 6'2".
One-on-one with your big guy up top.
It's Derek Meadows, number 30 at the top of your screen. Jake, you called it. They go right to him. Some good coverage there from Julius Johnson, just a freshman, made varsity this year. Not easy to do on this Long Beach Poly roster, and not an easy assignment there.
Well, that's twice now. We saw it last drive, Julius Johnson facing the tall Derek Meadows. And what we say, hey, you got to squeeze him towards the sideline. Look at where Derek Meadows is when this ball's in the air. He's only got about a yard to work with. It's a good job by, you mentioned the young Johnson. Still early in his career, going up against one of the best receivers he'll face throughout the season. And that's 2 times now where he's went toe-to-toe with him and has won the battle.
Remember, Melvin Spicer in at QB now. He'll keep it. And he's dragged down short of the end zone by the linebacker Dylan Williams. Verbally committed to Oregon in July. 4-star linebacker. The bright future ahead. This Long Beach Poly defense. Again, they'll have Mission Viejo next on their schedule. Not an easy California opponent. That's what they wanted. Tough non-conference schedule to lay the groundwork for this season ahead.
You go in the weight room, go to the squat rack. If you put 50 pounds on the bar, you won't ever know how strong you are. You know you can win that one, right? Sometimes you got to put a little bit of weight on the bar to find out, can I do this? And sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. In Long Beach Poly, you got to play against the best. How good are we? You can't tell unless you play against the best, and just like that metaphor, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Brent Brown really wanted a timeout there on the Bishop Gorman sideline, and he's able to get it. So still coaching them up. 53-15. Play clock was winding down there. And in this moment, if you're Bishop Gorman, you're still as detailed in the program as they are. Looking for the execution points. That's all we saw at practice yesterday. It was execution, 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 and lock in is their phrase they go to.
As you know, in football, it's a long season. It's a violent sport. We've seen that showcased a number of times today. So even though this game's over from a score standpoint, you want to get your guys reps. You mentioned you got Melvin Spicer in at quarterback. You got Miles Norman. They're getting deeper into the roster, guys that may not have that experience otherwise. And all you're just planting seeds. You're just putting some money in the bank, some deposits. You never know when you'll have to draw on them, maybe if you have to draw on them, but that's the valuable, the valuable part, even in these games that are over, you can plant those seeds knowing it's a long season, knowing guys get hurt, never really knowing the future. You're going to draw on that at some point throughout their careers.
And some opportunities to get experience here for the younger players on Bishop Gorman. Spicer waltzes into the end zone. His first rushing touchdown of the day. And Bishop Gorman is knocking on the door of a 60-piece. They scored 62 last week. And now Bone trying to give Bishop Gorman back-to-back weeks with a 60-point effort. They do just that.
We call this the big boy cam right here. Here's your center, here's your right guard. We're gonna sort this out and then watch the parting of the Red Sea. Watch, if you're Spicer, watch this one. Bang, you're pulling around and then boom, look at that. Can drive our truck right through the middle of that defense.
Yeah, you got
the blocking techniques for this Bishop Gorman team. There's kind of a fun story we had earlier about Prince Williams, who's actually a defensive lineman, and his sister Persea, who's on the girls' flag roster for Bishop Gorman. And they talked about walking around the house, kind of practicing blocking techniques on each other. You grew up with brothers, Jake. You ever walk around the house, kind of practicing blocking your own brother as a tight end?
Yeah. That's one way to say it. Blocking techniques. We
Blocking
also
techniques.
called it fighting with each other as well. And I have two twin brothers. They're about a year and a half younger than me. I am 6'6", about 250 pounds. They are all 6'6", about 250 pounds. So, yeah, maybe that's a nice way of putting it, actually, Jason. I might steal that. Yeah, we were practicing blocking.
Accidentally break a thing or two in the house?
Yes, and shout out to my dad. He taught me patience. I don't know if I could have done it. A lot of drywall. We would play rugby in the basement.
We're going to have to get back to that rugby in the basement, by the way. Meanwhile, Gorman kicks it away. Opportunity to return here for Jordan Malakalu. He's brought down in about his own 20-yard line.
Okay, you want to hear about rugby in the basement?
Rugby in the basement.
It fits to this broadcast because what we see earlier in the game with Taylor, just pointing out, these guys have flat screen TVs on the sideline. They're watching instant replays. Listen, I'm not that old, but we didn't have an Xbox growing up. We grew up on 5 acres, so we had to entertain ourselves. You weren't watching TV, so what do you do when you have 3 boys and infinite time on your hands? You invent your own games. And they might start off fun, but eventually they have to get physical, and eventually you're tackling each other through the drywall, and then eventually you're saying, hey, you know, Dad, I know you just fixed that drywall last week, but there's another hole in there. You think you got it back?
I'm just envisioning this right now. Maybe I could call it one day. Well,
basement rugby.
Basement rugby. I talked about Persea, who's on the Bishop Gorman flag girls roster, and Prince Williams, who had 13 tackles last week in Hawaii. He's been wreaking havoc again today. Those two are best friends with each other, and they're always motivating each other, which is a super cool story that Taylor told earlier in the broadcast. Got a crew on hand here: Jake Butt, Jason Ross Jr., Taylor Davis. Everyone back in the truck doing some awesome work in the heat today and yesterday. Shout out to you guys for putting on the show this week, and for Nike for hosting us. Bishop Gorman not letting up with 80 seconds to go in this third quarter. Some reach off the edge there from Sione Motuapuaku.
It's been a common theme. It was Sione there. It was another guy the previous drive, another guy the previous drive. There's just hasn't been the numbers. It's been an edge rusher. Someone's been coming free far too often for the Bishop Gorman defense. They're coming around clean. They've been making the plays.
Joshua Ulo Koshio was able to make the play, and now seeking for something down the sideline. A place that was successful earlier in the broadcast. Intentions that time for Jordan Malualu.
Number 11.
It was great coverage.
It was.
Going stride for stride. It's some talented receivers there. Jordan Malualu going to Fresno State, but these cornerbacks for Bishop Gorman, they have been in the hip pocket throughout the day, and even though a couple times we saw Caden Butler come down with some plays, the coverage has been tight.
That ball is fair and caught. Kaino Watson. 36 seconds left in this third quarter. We'll have a running clock in the fourth, as long as this remains a 32-point game in favor of Bishop Gorman.
How's your math? What are we at right now, Jason?
45.
Feels safe saying we're probably looking at a running clock.
Melvin Spicer able to dish it over to another one of these receivers who's getting some reps here in this game now. CJ Rabb makes his first catch of the day. Corey Hudson, the DB over there to make the tackle.
How cool is this, Jason? This is a high school game, but we're seeing a number of guys that will be playing at the next level for Long Beach Poly. It's Darius Curry, it's Jordan Malaula, the receiver.
Yep, going to Fresno State.
Alejado, Melvin Spicer. Spicer has offers. All the running backs have offers. All the receivers, the O-line.
Caden Butler made a play earlier in this game that at the moment kept Long Beach Poly in. We'll talk more of him and some of the Long Beach Poly players when we return to the fourth quarter of action. Brent Browner and Bishop Gorman, I'd say they tidied up the defensive details that they wanted to work on this week. Up 45 entering the fourth quarter. Talked about Long Beach Poly and their players that have offers, super talented on that side as well. Miles Norman has started to kind of create his own highlight reel in this second half at the running back spot right now for Bishop Gorman. Talked about Caden Butler for Long Beach Poly. He picked up 9 scholarship offers to begin the summer and then came into this Long Beach Poly roster as a newcomer, and he's now one of the guys, in the words of Coach Stephen Barbie. Got a running clock in the fourth quarter now. Stephen Barbie did say it's a process right now as Bishop Gorman goes back to the ground game. Bringing in a new back this time, Philip Sampson, his first carry of the day. It's now the 4th different running back we've seen so far for Bishop Gorman. Jake, in the locker room after a game like this for Long Beach Poly, we've seen the emotion on their sidelines, just the test of being in this moment and then moving forward. What's the balance of moving forward and carrying some of this over emotionally?
I think sometimes the closer games are actually harder to accept. I think in this instance you say, listen guys, this isn't us, this wasn't good enough, we all know it. We'll watch the film and then we'll bury it and it's on to the next one. You know, listen, this is, Bishop Gorman has been in complete control and really is in a different league tonight. So for Long Beach Poly, you understand, you got Mission Viejo next week. That's going to be a huge, huge challenge. You don't harp on this loss. We talk about you go to sleep You got about 12 hours and then you turn the page because it's football season and we're in it now, and it just rolls and rolls and rolls. So you don't want to spend too much time thinking about what could have been or what should have been. It's on to Mission Viejo next week.
Jebediah Tupou made a good tackle there, the linebacker for Long Beach Poly. So, talk about this Bishop Gorman side. 6 out of the top 10 players in the state of Nevada are on the roster. Just an absolutely loaded team. And Long Beach Poly taking all the punches of this test, but standing tall. And Gorman cleaning up the details that they felt weren't so tidy a week ago, holding on to a 45-point lead now. Bishop Gorman takes back over on offense. We've seen Micah Alejado now stay on the sideline for the vast majority of the latter stages, third quarter into the fourth. It is Melvin Spicer who's in the game right now. Had a rushing touchdown on the last possession, has to use his legs here, but a nice play made by the teeth of that Long Beach Poly defense. Dylan Williams making the play. And Taylor, we talked about Micah Alejado a lot in the opening half, the Hawaii commit. I know you've got some more on him.
Yeah, guys, obviously he has been a machine down here and executing as well as expected. I did ask him what quarterback he's kind of emulated, looked up to in his career, and no surprise, he said one Tua Tagovailoa. Those lefties stick together, and obviously a lot of similarities that you both pointed out earlier. But, you know, you wonder what kind of attitude a guy like that's going to have on the sideline when his day is up. He just busted out some freestyle rapping for us here on the sideline. Had one of his teammates drop a beat, and he just had some freestyle bars that he dropped. I'm not going to lie, it was a talent. Maybe an NIL opportunity ahead for him there, guys. Definitely a solid rapper, and his teammates loved it, as expected. I mean, I was enjoying it. Who am I kidding?
Taylor, stay frosty over there because we may need you to get the mic in that freestyle circle. So you mentioned NIL. This is a good opportunity to get ahead of this.
It was
showcase his
impressive.
talents.
Of course, I think after this week, everybody's going to want a Nike shoe deal, you know?
Talk about multi-talented. That is so cool.
Jason, our play-by-play that you just heard, he's sung in the choir.
This is true. I attempted to sing in the choir. Probably did not do as well with my musical career as Micah Alejado has the potential to do. We should get him mic'd up.
I never sung in the choir.
Did you try?
No, never tried. Nope. I believe it was Socrates that said, "Know thyself, Jason." You have a silky smooth voice. I would go listen to you sing in the choir. I would not listen to me sing in the choir, though.
Thank you, Jake. I've enjoyed listening to you, my friend. Got a fun crew over the weekends. Taylor on the sidelines listening in for us to anything and everything that's taking place over there on the Bishop Gorman sideline. Our great crew in the truck, too. 7:05 to go in this fourth quarter. Again, a running clock right now with Bishop Gorman on the way to a 2-0 start here at the Nike Kickoff Classic. Day number 2, second annual weekend of this awesome event put on by Nike here in Beaverton, Oregon, at this beautiful Ronaldo field that they've dressed up so well. Been an amazing experience for the players, amazing experience for us, these coaches. right from the time you hit the airport. I actually saw Bishop Gorman at the airport when I came in. And it was so cool to just see the teams getting this experience. They have been wreaking havoc in the backfield today. Somehow, Darius Curry held on for dear life and got that pass away.
That there is the metaphor for the day, because that pass gained about 4 yards, but how hard was that, huh? Darius Curry being spun around. Easily could have taken a sack, but he's straining for every single yard he can get, and they get 4 yards.
Nice job to just get out of the pocket that time. Scampers for what should be a first down. Remember, Darius Curry is committed to Colorado State, captain for this team, and he's felt like a captain in a lot of moments today. We'll take a breather. Return with 5:51 to go in this fourth quarter. Talked about the defensive effort for this Bishop Gorman team. They put a real emphasis on playing a lot of 7-on-7 events, passing tournaments, kind of put their DBs in positions against opposing teams and high-flying offenses, and now it's paying off in the real field. There's a nice grab made over the middle, though, by Malu Alu, and now he has room to run down the sideline. Jordan Malu Alu able to make a nice play there. Streaking across the middle, and things to build on here for Long Beach Poly going into their next week against Mission Viejo. That's what he'd love to see.
Watch this route develop, right? He's going to work in this pocket right here. You're going to see a flat come from the inside out. There's the flat, and then bang, right behind him. That flat just moves the linebacker element just enough for Darius Curry to hang on to it and throw it right there in the pocket. They had a touchdown on a similar concept earlier down in the red zone, an RPO. That's a really comfortable play for Darius Curry. He sees the flat, it stretches the linebackers, and it opens up that pocket for one of his favorite routes, the slant route over the middle.
Take one more look at that slant route.
So check this right here, right on time. Look at him, gets to the top of his drop, one hitch, and it's right there on time. And a nice grab up top by Jordan Alu. It's been one of his favorite targets throughout the day. But again, it's complimentary football. You see the flat, okay, does the defender go with him or not? Yeah, okay, the defender goes with him. Then a good quarterback knows the pocket and the space is behind where that defender was. Good read, good catch. Won't matter for the result of this game, but something to build on, like you said, Jason.
Fresno State commit making the play there. They'll be playing against each other at some point, Jake, in the Mountain West. Colorado State, Fresno State. So teammates for now, but maybe future conference rivals / good buddies.
What do we know about college football as we don't know? There's a transfer portal and NIL. You never know. Maybe they'll link up one day.
They've been linking up quite a few times today. Going to the back of the end zone, trying to haul that in with one hand. That time was Luke Bugs. He's a basketball player and he runs track in Long Beach in addition to playing football. A busy guy in the back of the end zone there. Just couldn't quite reel it in.
Back end of Bishop Gorman's defense has been extremely sound, extremely disciplined today. They're not going to follow the noise underneath. And they were on top of it. Safety and a third deep defender, both completely aware of the deep corner out by Luke Bugs. And again, just no space down the field.
Curry is looking down the field again. Intentions that time for Caden Butler. Couldn't find him. Jacob, reading the back of the shirt of one of the Poly assistants says, "We are Poly. Before one of us, here is all of us. And we are together. We are loyal. We are family." And it's like that type of mindset as you see it there from our awesome crew in the truck getting a shot of it. That's what embodies the sideline. And I love the embrace right on cue there with the coach and the lineman. Just kind of showcasing what they want to be no matter the score.
Yeah, it's perfect. As we mentioned, Long Beach Poly has a proud and deep, rich history of success. The second most NFL players of any high school. As that one just, Caden Butler can't come down with it. But when we were talking to Stephen Barbie earlier today, what did he say, Jason? The culture has been set long, long ago. And what he's so proud of his team and to coach this team is all those former guys, Austin Eckler, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deshaun Jackson. Said some of these NFL players donated 6 figures plus, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mercedes Lewis gives some love to the tight end. But some of these guys right here, they donated hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s to get a new weight room developed. And they come back around, they breathe life into these guys, they give them advice, and they hang around the program, which is so, so cool.
That pass is broken up. One of my favorite quotes. You see the play there made by Aiden Zenner, the DB, senior from Stephen Barbie, was at the end of the day, I want to be a difference maker in my players' lives. And he definitely is. Talked about the trip to Hawaii, their week 1, and 15 players on the team who hadn't been on a plane before, and getting to have that experience. And now both these teams being able to come up here for the Nike Kickoff Classic 2nd annual has been amazing. A memorable experience for both sides. Bishop Gorman going to be the happy sideline after this one. They're going to start 2-0. We'll step aside. Back with another beautiful drone shot for you. Shout out to Faith flying the drone today. She's done a phenomenal job with that. Giving you some cool looks to look at your tight ends making plays. Back to the ground goes Bishop Gorman. This running clock, 2:44 to go. 4 different running backs that we've seen today. The latest, Philip Sampson. He's getting some good reps now. Elijah Pooley, an important safety in the secondary moving forward this season for Long Beach Poly, made the stop. Spicer, this is what he can do. Breaking free, gets a block, and gets out near the 40. Seen a blend of him and Micah Alejado today. You see the number 41 Prince there on that cool sign, Prince Williams family. We know his sister Persea played in the girls' flag game yesterday for Bishop Gorman.
New quarterback in there. That was the last play for Spicer.
Yep, we've got Micah Eugenio in now, the sophomore, class of 2026. And he's another really potential recruit for a number of colleges around the country, just to showcase the ridiculous depth of this Bishop Gorman team. He's kind of a pro-style QB from Hawaii, just like Micah Alejandro He's going to return to his home state to play for the Rainbow Warriors.
Just a quick note on that for Alejado. Going back to play for Hawaii, going back to play for Timmy Chang. Timmy Chang is a legendary quarterback that played for Hawaii back in his day. He has the second most all-time career passing yardage, over 17,000 yards in his career. And he's infamous for the run and shoot offense. And it was year one for Hawaii last year. It didn't go too well, but you just bet on him and what he represents for the Rainbow Warriors. And now you get a quarterback in Alejandro that we've seen today have a lot of success and a lot of potential. What a great mentor to have in Timmy Chang, the head coach of Hawaii.
It is cool, all the ties around this football family. It is Bishop Gorman. They flip it outside here. And coming over to make the play, Elijah Pooley. Sun setting here in Beaverton. And the sun will set on this wonderful, wonderful couple of days of football in the Nike Kickoff Classic, as Bishop Gorman is going to start their season 2-0. Brett Browner's team will head into the locker room happy. They said they came here to take care of business, take care of the details. They did just that today. And their fans that traveled up from Vegas are absolutely loving it.
What an impressive day from Bishop Gorman. It didn't matter. I mean, we saw 3, 4, 5 different receivers, tight ends. We saw them get to their third string, fourth string running back. The O-line played nearly flawless. The size difference was imperative just in the trenches, how big and strong they are. You mentioned the colleges wanted to recruit deep into this roster, and I can see why. It was very evident today that if you're a college program and you turn on the Gorman film, you are going to see talent across the board in all 3 phases of the game.
It was impressive, and it was a really complete game. There's Elijah Lofton, who we talked about in the open. Miami commit with a super bright future. A lot of mutual respect on both sides. Love to see this line after culminating what's been a wonderful couple days of football with the 5 different girls flag teams we saw yesterday. And now Bishop Gorman taking a victory today. And Taylor Davis is down there with Bishop Gorman head coach Brett Browner.
Thank you, Jason. Well, Coach, you told us this week you guys came here to take care of business. How did your guys do that today?
I thought they did, excellent, all right? That's a hell of a team we just played. A lot of athletes. Number one's a great quarterback. You saw some of the extra stuff he could do. Their starting linebacker came back, number 2, which is, a hell of a player. Like, he's a dude. I thought our O-line played great. That's kind of one of the backbones that we have. Offensively, we did good. Defensively, we're starting to settle in. Obviously, we talked about it. It's probably our 4th game after all the plays we played. But, I can't be more proud of the guys right now.
I know this is a team with a lot of big goals, but this week was a special one. What do you hope your guys took away from this whole experience?
You know what? We want to thank Nike, everybody involved, this Kickoff Classic, you guys being here. This is a special experience for both teams. Class Act program, right? Class Act program we just played right there. Our guys were excited about playing this team. Again, it's just a great experience. Like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing to do all this, to travel here, and the way that Nike treated us the whole time. Both teams, every parent was like, this is an experience. This is an experience that you never really get, so it was awesome.
And the dub at the end of it. Go enjoy it, Coach.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But Taylor, I think we can all speak to the point of Coach Brent Browner there. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Felt like that for the players, the coaches, felt like that for us. It was wonderful. That's it for the 2nd annual Nike Kickoff Classic. Bishop Gorman takes the victory 60-15. We had 4 games yesterday, 5 girls flag teams. Saying so long for Jake Butt, Taylor Davis, our producer Jim Piscatelli, director Nick Young, all of you guys back in the truck. Phenomenal job all weekend, guys. I'm Jason Ross Jr. saying so long.